then I realized, yeah, like my whole life can't depend on a single
Hmm.
paper. Like the fact is that if I would have got that English ka ek question
Hmm.
right, I would have been eligible for all big MBA
Oh
institutes.
my,
My percentile would have gone from 96.4 or something to
oh my God.
99.
Okay.
The fact that your whole life depends on a single question itself is
हाँ
wrong. So then I said, ये shit तो मैं नहीं करने वाला next
हाँ
time
हाँ
भी.
हाँ
Like I'm not giving cat again ever in my life. Like this shit, whether I was this
हाँ
close, I said this shit is not
हाँ
happening. I can't give cat. मैंने एक क्वेश्चन गलत कर
हाँ
दिया, वापस सेम
हाँ
बैक. मतलब you can't depend. Like it's weird, right? Like all this
I
stuff,
know
like the system that has been
हाँ
created to judge
right.
you. It was weird. So I thought like ये सब तो नहीं होने वाला यार मेरे से. मैं नहीं करूँगा next time. So then I never gave
Right.
cat. Never even cared about it.
Hi, hello, namaste to all my listeners. I'm your host Sarthak Varshney, and I welcome you all to the Balls of Steel show, where you get an insight into the business mindset of the entrepreneurs. Dhandho Ni Soch. So, hi guys. I hope you're all doing good. And today, we've got one amazing company with us. And when I say amazing, the sole reason I call them amazing because their portfolio is so good with clients that I was kind of mind blown when I got to know that finally I'm having a chance to have this company on my show, and the co-founder is coming on the show with me, specifically the CCO, right? So let me just break this ice to you guys that this company is Blink Digital, and they have been into business of digital marketing and marketing overall for a very, very, very long time. And when I say clients, let me tell you, the clients are so called like KFC and Nestle and all those biggies out there. So now the story, you can understand the kind of story that we're going to talk about. And with that said, I want to welcome on board Rikki Agarwal. Thank you so much, Rikki. How are you? And thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Sarthak, for inviting me and such a warm introduction. Yeah, it's been a great journey of starting an agency, and like we've been doing pretty good in terms of clients. We are working with some of the biggest and the best. So yeah, thank you, Sarthak, for inviting. And hopefully this podcast will be fun for listeners. They'll enjoy all the stories, some jokes I may crack in between, horror stories with my clients. But yeah, let's see how that goes.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay, with the way you're telling me, I'm very, very sure about it.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be fun. Bitching about clients on public forum will always be fun, I guess. Without letting the public know the names.
Right, right.
I'll call all my clients Raj.
राइट अच्छा ठीक है सो यहाँ पे गाइस सारे क्लाइंट्स राज होने वाले हैं ठीक है कोई राहुल भी बन सकता है कोई
नहीं,
विजय
राहुल
भी
भी
बन
बन सकता है. Depending on my mood, which movie. Rahul and Raj, the two most
राइट
abused name in Bollywood.
नहीं I was bringing in Vijay because generally Vijay is
Oh,
famous for
Vijay.
Amitabh Bachchan.
Acha.
So
Vicky
the
is
guys
also
be
quite a unique name, so yeah.
yes, be prepared, ठीक है, and keep your minds open and on so that if you have to fit an analogy कि ये राज कौन से राज से जाके fit होने वाला है तो सोचते रहना. Okay, so with that said, Ricky, why don't you tell me what is the business that you are into, because of which we're gonna say that you've got the balls of steel.
So we are into business of digital marketing, advertising, marketing, innovation,
Hmm.
um, like from anywhere from digital social media marketing to like AR, VR, neuroscience marketing, and all that stuff. Yeah, we
Okay.
started around like 10 years back, straight from college, and now we are at 100 people company, working with some of the biggest clients in the country: Amazon, KFC, yeah, Intel, a lot of other clients. So yeah, that's what we are and what we do.
Oh my god, I mean, guys, do you look at the subtlety with which Ricky just mentioned Intel? Did you look at that?
No, no, no. Like they've been really good with us. So yeah, like one of the better clients. One like all our clients are great. Some are
हाँ.
great to work with. And yeah, they are one of them. Even
Okay.
Amazon is great to work with.
Okay, okay, I get it. So I mean, I can actually imagine that there are plenty of stories coming out,
Mm,
and it's gonna be one hell of a ride. So Ricky,
mm,
why don't you start, by telling me more about the business, like the
mm,
business side, the
mm.
thing that you are doing right now, so that my listeners have a fair amount of idea that how your business is running, and what exactly are you catering to, and how, like, give me more insights just about the
Okay.
business.
So
Right.
basically, okay, we are a typical B2B business. We
Uh-huh.
work with like some of the top clients in the country. The services that we provide ranges from creative services, from making creatives, understanding the brand, positioning the brand, to then like running it on digital media, like buying media. And also
Mhm,
we do like we are known in the market for some of the most innovative technologies out there, like augmented reality, virtual reality.
mhm.
Also, we do some kind of like we started working on blockchain technology to do like
Wow.
NFTs and stuff like that. So yeah, we've always been in the cutting edge of technology, and
Wow.
I think we believe that the future lies in like basically creating an amalgamation of creative and technology, and that's what we
Mhm,
do. Yeah, and also data. With so much of data around, I think the beauty of a creative or media is when all three creative media and data come
mhm.
together. So that's what we do in a nutshell.
My God, I mean, guys, do you see? So, Ricky, if I'm not wrong to say this, you, out of everything, have actually taken the benefit of this of these three amazing words: first mover advantage, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like I think first mover advantage. I think so. Just to give you some history, I think I
Right.
was the first guy in India to buy a Connect. This was back in 2011, and we hacked into Connect and made
Oh.
like an installation. So I'm an engineer. My partner is also an engineer. We were like this whole like we had that kida of like technology.
Haha.
So I don't know whether you know this guy called Pranav Mistry. So there
Pranam
was this TED
mistakes.
talk that he did
Mhm,
on
mhm.
augmented reality, which
Right.
inspired us to get into like innovative technology, and that's how like the whole formation of Blink happened. We wanted
Okay.
to basically we saw a need gap of creativity and tech then, and we being engineers and understanding some part of creativity, we thought that it would be a great like a way to start. So we started like this whole tech solution, which was called Blink Solution then, where we are
Okay.
just giving innovative technology. And then like what happened is once we started getting hello,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Please go on.
once we started getting clients, we thought why don't we start like doing easier businesses like social media marketing and all. So we
Right.
moved and became a full service digital agency. So yeah, like
Wow. I mean, I really like the transition from digital solutions to marketing. And if you're talking about 2011, you
hmm,
guys were insanely first, yeah,
yeah,
insanely
yeah.
first. Because I remember that I've had
We were
conversations with.
instantly first in buying bitcoins also, by the way. We bought
Don't
Bitcoin
tell
in
me you are
2014.
holding bitcoins.
Yeah,
Don't tell me.
we bought Bitcoin in 2014. So that's what we've
Oh,
always been
oh
in
my
like
God. I are you
lookout.
are you one of those Bitcoin millionaires that I'm talking to right now?
I can't disclose the income, but yeah, we have quite a sizable Bitcoin. So
Oh
we were
my
one of
God.
them.
All right, so guys, I mean, just look at Ricky and I mean, definitely going to dive deep into his mind right now to understand how he looks at technology and how he decides where to dive into and how to take care of it and how to put that into marketing. But you seriously need to learn from him. I mean, if he is holding Bitcoin, he's probably the first person in India that I know of
No,
who
no, no, no. You
probably
know,
might be. Huh,
we are not the first person. We bought our first Bitcoin from a guy in Bihar.
from guy in Bihar.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how when you start doing innovative stuff, you realize that like
Right,
there are a lot of people inside of India which do also like a lot of great stuff. So yeah.
right. Wow. Yeah. Okay, so it's pretty evident, Ricky, that your business is pretty simple, है
Hmm.
ना? And you have taken all the advantages from the first mover advantage.
Hmm.
And what I can actually make of, so correct me if I'm wrong, that what you guys do is you guys understand the technology, whichever is coming in, you amalgamate that along with the marketing industry that you are into, and then you
Hmm.
provide a amazingly kind of a solution that which is not out there in the market to the clients, and they're mind blown and they're like, oh yes, we're going to Blink Digital and get this thing done. Is
So
it?
that's one part of it, which is
Okay.
what we call is the hard business, because
Okay.
technology doesn't move as quickly as the clients demand. We
Right.
also do vanilla stuff of making websites. I won't call it vanilla because we are really good at it. Digital marketing and all that stuff. A lot of the stuff that we
Right.
do, we want to include innovation in everything that we do. That's the
Hmm.
DNA. So some of
Right.
the even the basic YouTube campaign will be innovative when we do it. So yeah, that's what
Right.
we are in the business for.
Right. So guys, listeners, uh Rikki is like one of the inspirations, I would say. And what you need to pick up, that which I can definitely say right now, is the kind of business that everyone is trying to step into it right now. The digital marketing business and trying to get their hands on it, because it's picking up. Everyone's going digital. Plus, COVID has added fuel to the fire. It's not the gas, fuel to the fire. It's picking up, and everyone wants to do that. But Rikki has done that, and now they're working on creativity, so definitely they have the edge there, and they have proved that they do it insanely well. So Ricky, on this note, I would want to know your opinion, that what do you think about these number of digital agencies that are mushrooming in the space right now, right? And how do they really affect your business or the full space? So what's your opinion about that?
I think so. Look, nature with like one of the biggest challenges with our industry is that there is no barrier to entry, right? So
Right.
tomorrow, for example, anyone can say I'm providing social media services.
Hmm.
Now the challenge that they create is that since it's a creative business and everyone
Hmm.
is ready to do free pitches, what
Hmm.
happens is even the bigger agencies, they don't value their own services. So basically, if you are providing creative at an X
Hmm.
cost,
Right.
what you'll do is, okay, I'm a smaller player, I will cut it by X by 2.
Right.
And everyone is ready to pitch, right? What's happening with this people coming on board? And these are also for some big agencies. They
Right.
basically get clients on board on like smaller costs just to get the clients on board, and then
Hmm.
have like some intern working on the account and all
Hmm.
that stuff. So the biggest challenge that we face, at least in the digital marketing space, is the challenge of undercutting the cost, not valuing
Right.
your own creative services, right? The fact is that we compete with digital, but the
Hmm.
fact is we need to start competing with mainline agencies like the Ogilvies and the JWGs, where the
Right.
cost is much higher. So
Hmm.
inherently, the business suffers from what we call is undervaluing, where the
Right.
clients don't value it, right? Today you value a Louis Vuitton bag because it's a 3 lakh rupees bag,
Hmm.
right? So the fact is that digital itself right now gets
Hmm.
undervalued, and also the services, because you have the interns and very junior resources entering into the market, the
Hmm.
services itself is under delivered, wherein the clients don't realize the full potential and they are not as evolved, or they know the industry as much,
Hmm.
and they rely on the agency to deliver. And then that's the point, right? The barrier to entry on digital is very
Hmm.
little. Barrier to
Right.
entry on a TV campaign is more. So the challenge arises from that. And just because agencies want to get new businesses,
Hmm.
they will take any business for any cost.
Right.
And when that's the market that you're playing with, and creativity being a subjective industry,
Hmm.
so the challenge becomes manifold. And yeah, even a lot of big agencies do it. So
Right.
it's always a challenge.
So I mean, this is a very eye-opener thing, that when you say, Ricky, that even the big agencies do it, because coming from the creative field and the similar space that you are into, I know for this fact that this is very true. That undercutting is happening, and X by 2 तो अब रहा ही नहीं, अब तो X by, I don't know,
No,
Y
this
Z
happens
10
with some
100
big
10.
agencies also. I don't want to name them.
No, no, definitely right.
Yeah, like the fact is that they hire like some 500 people with like some 500 clients,
Mhm.
and like some of the cost is like crazy. Like we give an X cost, the client comes to us, and these are big clients saying that
Right.
other agency has given X by 4. How are you so expensive? We are
Right.
like we are just doing a resource mapping to your scope of work to give you better services.
Huh.
But then I guess I won't call that a client problem. That's an agency problem.
Hmm.
Um, if all of at least the top five digital agencies take a conscious call of like
Hmm.
raising the bar and charging higher, eventually
Hmm.
the whole market for digital marketing will go up.
Right, right,
and
right.
and generally how it works is when you pay more, you value more, right?
Absolutely. Right.
Because it's taking a sizable part of your marketing budget. So the whole idea is that if that can happen as an industry,
Hmm.
that will be like, it won't be great, it's just basic. Because ultimately agency needs to value what they're giving to the client,
Hmm.
and that value needs to be attached to a cost.
Right.
Because a small client, big client, for them creativity is the same. Like
Hmm.
a person who's paying X money and person who's paying 4X, the
Hmm.
expectation is the same,
Right.
right? So it's very, very important that as an industry, we start like understanding the importance of a digital agency in the ecosystem and
Hmm.
start charging as per that. And when you charge higher, you hire the right resources, you hire more experienced people, you put
Hmm.
more people on the job, everything becomes better,
Hmm.
better ROI for the client and everything, right? So the fact is that neither the client side and the agent side, not
Hmm.
all the clients, but some clients believe in this. They
Hmm.
believe that टीवी से धंधा आता है उधर ही पैसा डालेंगे and wherein the
Hmm.
established big agencies like Ogilvy's of the world,
Hmm.
they have formulated a reputation and clients are willing to pay for them. But when it comes
Right.
to digital agency, it's like chasing
Hmm.
the cheapest vendor, chasing the cheapest vendor, and the cheapest vendor keeps undercutting.
Right.
So
Right. Right.
so it's always a challenge.
That's absolutely right, Ricky. And I somewhere believe that like in Bombay, there's a union for everything, right? There's a
Hmm.
DOP union, there's a product directors union, and all those things. And then they have a minimum wage for everything. So like a DOP would be minimum paid
Hmm.
this amount, and whatever
Hmm.
goes up, that's his experience and everything out there. So I
Hmm.
believe that if the whole industry, the creative industry, has a minimum wage at least for every one who's working in there, let's say even a copywriter for that matter, right?
Hmm.
So that would add to the that would probably give a more value addition to the agencies. And every player who comes in will now come in with considerable amount of experience before saying that I can do it professionally, and
Hmm.
then probably charge the right amount, not literally screwing up the market.
Yeah, I
So
think so. So also what happens is,
right.
look, the talent acquisition is an agency call, right? When you're
Right.
onboarding a client for a 50,000 per month, now
Hmm.
what will you do? Can you give like an experienced resource to that account? No, you'll hire an intern, tell her work on
Absolutely.
6 accounts. Hey,
Right.
this is one of the accounts.
Right.
Intern is happy saying, Arey, I'm getting an opportunity to work. Uh,
Hmm.
the agency is happy saying, wow, great, great. The client after 2 months will be unhappy because the output is bad, right? But he doesn't have the forecast to see that
Right.
the problem arises when you approve the 50,000 rupees cost.
Right.
Uh, so as an as an age as basically what has TV industry done really well is that
Hmm.
they've created good benchmarks. Now you can't start a TV campaign without less than 2-3 crores,
Ah,
right? A digital campaign can be started with 40 rupees, right?
absolutely.
So the initial doing a TV campaign itself comes
Ah,
with like a money that is needed. Like any
hmm.
Tom, Dick, and Harry can't go on TV, right? So the fact
Right.
is because the TV media is expensive, the creative agencies have created that ecosystem where the TV production is expensive. For
Hmm.
example, a TV asset that gets made, it
Hmm.
starts from 1 CR and all, and we are told to do the same video at 10 lakhs, right?
Absolutely.
With the
I know.
same output, with the
I know.
same DOP, with the same director, and all that stuff, right? So the
Uh-huh.
fact is that somewhere it has to be like a middle ground. The
Hmm.
TV is overpriced and digital is underpriced. And eventually, you move into a middle ground where it becomes a right mix where the agencies get paid more, and and the clients also start like valuing it. But that's, I think, eventually it's what I call is and chasing the client business. So like it's an agency
Right.
call what they want to do, right? So
Right. So, I mean, you guys have plenty of experience there, and definitely, it's gonna be whole sorts of learning from you that can come into. So, I mean, before we really dive into more of stories and stories of you, your life experience and everything, why don't you give me a initial starter story, fun story from probably a client agency story, with something my listeners can enjoy.
Right. So when you it's like that, I don't remember any funny stories, but like I remember telling like I remember the initial days when you were like really young, fresh
Mm-hmm.
out of engineering, and we put this like a lot of hard work into a solution. It was
Mm-hmm.
like an augmented reality virtual solution,
Okay.
and we went to Calcutta to present it and all that stuff. And then
Uh,
finally, like every like in a corporate world, when a brand manager, the only job he has to do is he wants to impress his boss, right?
right.
So we went like free of cost, we went and all that stuff. And this is like really young, like, and then we presented it and then like came back and then we were
Mm-hmm.
thinking that we'll get like a very big business. And the
Mm-hmm.
client comes back and says that I'll just pay you 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees for something. And like we got so frustrated. We just like literally this was the first time that I had to say like fuck off to a client. Literally on the call I said fuck off. Like, and that also I think he played into this whole look. The problem with clients, they get like sucked into this whole like big office, and we were young then, right? दस लोग की company थी,
right.
छोटी सी office थी. He came to our office. Maybe have created a perception. Uh,
Right.
so the fact is that वो perception building होता है. They don't see, they are not smart enough. Some clients are really smart enough
Mm-hmm.
that we worked initially. They saw
Mm-hmm.
through our talent. The
Right.
beauty of a great client is that they can see through people, right? They cut the crap. For
Right.
example, like big offices is ultimately people who do work is you, not your office, right?
Absolutely.
Like like the person who does your good work is not Ogilvy. It's the person
Mm-hmm.
inside Ogilvy who does work, right? Just
Mm-hmm.
that Ogilvy gives you a brand name or anyone like JWT gives you a brand name, which
Mm-hmm.
basically then translates into they may be getting the right set of talent,
Right.
right? So the fact is that like a lot of these clients who are built with this corporate structure, they start like valuing stuff like office, show off, and this was the initial stages of our business when our brand name wasn't good enough,
Mm.
right? So he couldn't see through that whole aspect of what we presented. Like when you get a standing ovation with a
Ha.
marketing conclave of 50, 100 people, you
Ha.
should value that work, right?
Right.
Once it just felt like the guy didn't value it and he came back and then when you are young, you are hot headed. Well, like fuck it, क्या फर्क पड़ता है ये गया कोई और आएगा कैसा
My
रहेगा.
God, right, this was insane, yeah. I mean, for that tech 2000, I mean, how did he even have the balls to come up with 2000 to figure? Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, like well, it was fun. Like now we look back.
Ha.
Like one of the things once you grow older, you become lot like you become pessimistic as a person. You've seen a
Ha.
lot of stuff, right? So
Ha.
you're not as aggressive. Now
Hmm.
looking back, I think maybe it was a mistake. You shouldn't say fuck off to a client in the industry. But then these are stories that you learn and evolve, right? Like become a better person. Start
Right.
understanding the client. So
Hmm.
all that stuff. So मतलब यंग में तो बहुत बहुत टाइम पास किया है. गाली
Time
दी
pass.
क्लाइंट को. और तो यार like we were so young, like we didn't care. Like
Ha.
I'll tell you this story. We had
Hmm.
like we did one of the sunburn activation.
Okay.
Um, we charged the client like a sizable amount,
Hmm.
and we had enough money. Like there was a time in our life we had so much money for that project that we
Ha.
could hire a private jet to Goa.
Oh my God. Okay.
And it was actually we thought of it. And this is like when we were like really young, like
Okay.
like a private jet. And private jet was like cheaper than actually flying people down.
Okay.
So we actually thought of it, but then what happened is we had to go at different points in time, not
Hmm.
all at the same time. So we had to drop that idea.
Hmm.
So stuff like that. It was fun. Like when you're young, you have all this innovative or finding new ways to
Man.
spend money. Right?
Right, right,
You don't
right.
have so many salaries to pay, right? And you are all doing it yourself. So margins बहुत होते हैं, profit margins.
Right, I can understand. So on this part, when we're talking about being young and doing such amount of services at that point of time, so there's a huge amount of difference that I have personally picked up, like looking at agencies, not in India but abroad also. And when we talk about as you already talked about agencies mushrooming in every sector and specifically digital. So there's this thing that now they say that since there's so many agencies, your agency needs to stand out and be niche specific. Don't go too wide, right? This is what many, I would have seen many veteran marketers say this. Okay, so even like Gary Vee, I've heard him say this. On a similar note, when you were young and as you're mentioning, like you did this activation event, you also tried your hands on AR tech. So these are very different and wide verticals, right?
Hmm.
So I would want to understand that how did you guys really manage working around such wide domains and still uh, taking the company forward and working on stuff? So give me more insights on that
So
part.
basically, look, we were engineers, me and my both partner.
Right,
We knew how to code. Uh,
right.
so like I remember my final year project, our final year project getting sold off for 2 lakh rupees,
Your
and
final
two
year
lakhs
project
for
got sold for 2 lakhs.
yeah, and that was like wow, that's a lot of money. Like you need to understand, right? We thought चलो अभी 2 लाख में बेच दिया हमारा 4-5 महीने का सैलरी चला शॉर्ट आउट हो गया let's start a company. That's
Huh.
how the formation of the company even happened, right? Because
Okay.
at that time in 2009 there was a
Huh.
recession and we were
Huh.
not getting the offer letter from the companies. Like my partner got an offer
Huh.
from Accenture and I got an offer from Infosys.
Okay.
एंड घर बैठे थे तो हमको ऐसा 2 लाख रुपए किसी ने दे दिया बोला अरे 25,000 दे वो 4-4 महीने का सैलरी हो गया लेट्स स्टार्ट समथिंग इन दिस 4 मंथ
Huh.
दैट्स हाउ दिस होल कंपनी स्टार्टेड एंड AR
Okay.
VR we being engineers
Hmm.
like it just became like very normal for us to do technology stuff. And my partner used to
Hmm.
do visual jockeying in Gen Z. I don't know whether you've heard of this restaurant. It was pretty famous then. Uh,
Right.
so he had that whole nature of being art inclined, like creatively
Huh.
inclined. So
Huh.
with me doing coding, and he also knew coding. It's not that he didn't know, and
Huh.
he doing creativity. We mixed it, and that's where we started doing AR, VR, augmented reality. Uh, like for example, if you've seen Minority Report, the Tom
Hmm.
Cruise glove that he
Hmm.
wears and does stuff. Now it's
Hmm.
pretty basic. We did that in 2010, and that's how the whole formation of doing innovative solution, and that's where we came to
Wow.
know from
Huh.
like what happened is people started knowing us. Now you guys have seen Snapchat filters, right?
Right.
Just think of it that we did Snapchat filter in
Huh.
2011 for KFC for the launch of KFC Fiery Grill. So like for
Oh,
example, like
okay.
you come in front of the camera and you're surrounded by fire like
Right.
as you move, right? Now in 2020, that filter is like very basic, very sub there. But just
Right.
take it 9 years back, that's how innovative we were. Like,
Okay.
like one of the
Right.
regrets
Right.
we have is like, why didn't we build that as a product rather
Huh.
than selling it for a brand, right? So stuff like that is where we came, like people started knowing us, and it
Huh.
became easier for us because we were engineers and we understood the tech behind it. And
Huh.
then slowly, we start getting to the easier part of business, which was social media marketing, digital
Hmm.
marketing, and all that stuff.
Okay, so would it be right for me to look at your business from the very starting point in a way that what you guys have really done is you guys innovated a tech, you guys
Yeah.
sold it for a good hefty price, worked out the salaries, worked on another tech for the next few months, sold it again with ideas, and by the time you guys had some business going on with that funds and everything, you started diving into the simple form of business, which was digital marketing and the rest of the
I
things.
won't call it simple, but like for us, it was easier because look, the
Right.
point in any business, service business is if your door is open, like the
Hmm.
biggest challenge is to get the client contact and get the client confidence, right?
Right.
The client is looking to give you business. The
Hmm.
door was pushed by our innovative solutions.
Hmm.
and then we barged into that door with other solutions, which client was more than happy to give it to us.
Hmm.
So that's how it is. That's how it was shaped.
My
Yeah,
God.
that's yeah,
So that
right.
means like so again, so I guess this is again a business tactic the way I see it at this point also. And guys, how I say this thing is that it's like a spearhead. So what Rikki and Dooj, right? From
Yeah,
not
yeah,
Dooj, right? Rikki and Dooj have done is that they created that tech, they spearheaded their way into the company. They got the first, let's say, first gig. Okay, the gig gets closed, they upsell, and they have the other business, right?
yeah. That's how we do it.
That's great. Yeah. I mean, guys, this is where innovation kicks in. Once you start innovating, and that is where you start differentiating. And this thing is also what really happens when you actually create a blue ocean market in a red ocean market. Since we're talking about blue ocean and red ocean, right? Vicky, what do you really feel about you and Dooj creating that industry at that point of time? Because at that point, this was all a blue ocean, and what you were doing, I would say it was a different shade of blue ocean, right?
Mm.
So, how was your feeling of doing something very different and then creating simpler versions of it, and working on that business? And then, how did you really decide that okay, this is the business model that we would be working constantly on, so that the retainers or the business keeps on coming in?
So basically, like as I keep going back, as the DNA of both engineers are very adaptive. We have
Right.
this whole thing of like doing things really quickly. Like, look, a lot of people criticize about like what engineering in India is, but the
Hmm.
fact is that when you actually learn engineering, you are put into a stressful situation and you
Hmm.
learn to innovate.
Right.
So in terms of like finding the right resources so that you can
Hmm.
clear the exam to everything, right? So engineers are trained like that. Like 2 दिन में एक पूरा syllabus खत्म करना है. वो book
Right.
जो आपने कभी देखा भी नहीं है वो so we get trained with that, and that's the whole mindset when we started our company was that कुछ करना है. Like for example, somebody would show like a great thing to us, we'll buy it. Like
हाँ,
like I connect दिखा किधर खरीद लिया. फिर
हाँ,
ऑर्डर आया, हैक किया, फिर एक सोल्यूशन बनाया, जाके वोडाफोन को बेचा. So so stuff like that. So the whole idea is that we've always like
हाँ,
evolved and understood where to
right,
foresee or what is there to forecast, and we as our education system we've been very adapt to learning quickly. So the
right.
fact is that from a solution provider, which is Blink Solution, to a
Hmm.
full service digital agency, for us
Hmm.
it was just learning on the fly. We did know what marketing was. Like I remember one of the client meetings that we attended, one of the big
हाँ.
clients, they started saying, "Give me a central thought of the campaign," and I was looking at my partner and saying, "ये central thought क्या होता है?" What is the central thought? The idea there is central thought. What the fuck? What the fuck is the central thought? Like like the clients keep like asking, and I'm looking at what is the central thought. ये मैडम
हाँ,
को कुछ आता है कि नहीं? Like I'm looking at the cool AR idea. What are you asking for central thought?
हाँ,
So that's where we understood. Then we went and did our research and realized marketing works in a different manner. So you have
हाँ.
to pitch it in a different way. And a lot of this, it has to adhere to an objective of a brand. It
Hmm.
can't just
Hmm.
be a tech solution that you give. So stuff like
Right.
that. So you evolve and you understand, and then that's how like we moved. Our company initial name was Blink Solution,
हाँ.
uh, like providing websites, tech solutions, and then we changed it to Blink Digital, wherein we became a full service digital agency.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
how it is.
Okay. And now since you're mentioning like ये बनाया है वोडाफोन को बेच दिया ये किया कॉलेज प्रोजेक्ट 2 लाख में बेच दिया ऑनेस्टली मैंने ये स्टोरी अभी तक नहीं सुनी थी कि इवन आई एम एन इंजीनियर ओके
So,
फॉर दैट मैटर ठीक है तो मैंने अभी तक स्टोरी अपने कॉलेज में भी सुनी कि किसी ने
so
अपना
basically,
कॉलेज प्रोजेक्ट
now you're an engineer, right? So I'll tell you this whole story, how it unfolded, right? In
राइट
final year, we have to do this B project, you
हाँ
should know, right?
हाँ
तो क्या
हाँ
होता है आप जाते हो वेंडर ढूंढते हो right? You start
हाँ
looking for vendors to execute your final year project. I don't know
ठीक है
whether you've done it, but most of the
नहीं मैंने
engineering
वो नहीं
students
किया
do
था
it.
हाँ
It's a big
राइट
business model,
आई नो
right?
आई नो
So finally we go ahead and find this really uh, extremely rude guy, and
Hmm.
we were four of us, and dude just loved that guy, and we went ahead and gave him the work,
Hmm.
right? 2 महीना हुआ, 3 महीने हुआ, कुछ प्रोग्रेस ही नहीं है। 4 महीना
हाँ,
हुआ, कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है। Like
हाँ,
we were like, क्या चल रहा है, क्या चल रहा है? Then finally that guy just showed like took our advances and paid some money back and said, you guys do the project yourselves. Like extremely rude guy. And then we were in a jiffy like, अभी क्या करें? क्या
हाँ.
करें? Then we all sat and we started learning how to execute a project.
Okay.
So we sat and we started coding the first application. We call it Digito. It was an image processing tool.
Okay.
Then so like we made the whole solution, and then like this was the company who had given us this brief uh,
Hmm.
to make this solution, and we went and showed him the solution. He said, "This is great. I want to buy it." Like his name was Eddie Cruz. Now I don't know whether that company exists, but he's in Goa.
Okay.
Uh, then he said, "Okay, this is great. I'll pay you 40,000 for this. Can you
Hmm.
make a modified version of it? Something like this. I'll give you the design." We
Hmm.
said, "Okay." Then he said, "I'll pay you 2 lakhs for it." We are like, "Wow, the world is different." Either we were paying to get the solution made, your client is like somebody is paying us 2 lakh rupees, and 2 lakh rupees for an engineering guy at that point in time was a lot of money. Like,
It's still a lot of money right now also engineering में
but
जाने के
just
बाद.
to think, just to give you a perspective, right? Like,
हाँ,
50,000 की salary वाले बंदे हैं, मतलब
हाँ.
college से we've not even graduated.
Hmm.
उनको 2 लाख रुपए मतलब lot of money, right?
I know.
So we said, "अरे wow," and we made that solution, sold it to him,
हाँ.
got good money. And then yeah,
Wow.
that's
Okay.
how the Blink entrepreneurship started for us.
Blink entrepreneur started. Okay, okay. And एक और चीज मतलब जैसे आपने बताया ना कि you do this and वहां से वो big गया ये हो गया and you guys pitch in. So I really want to learn, like personally I want to learn this from you, that how do you do this? Like ये क्या Vodafone को बेच दिया, ये क्या Intel को, how do
नहीं
you
नहीं, so
really
basically,
barge into this biggies and sell them a solution?
no,
Like
so
it's not just
I'll
you
tell
but
you,
everyone wants to know this.
one of the
Right.
biggest things when you become the first mover is that
हाँ.
you rule the online world. So
Hmm.
whenever someone is to search for augmented reality India,
Hmm.
our
Hmm.
name is to crop in. So we literally didn't even have to meet the client. The client used to call us. Like KFC called
Oh.
us, ITC
हाँ.
called us. They used to just, so what we did was we went to Quora, created a thread saying which are some of the big best augmented reality companies in India, and we wrote the answer ourselves. Like stuff like that we've done, wherein we've done like good SEO and all that stuff. So
हाँ.
खुद क्वेश्चन बनाया, खुद आंसर लिख दिया. People used to go come to our website, call us. और तब
Hmm.
कितने providers थे AR/VR के, right? So
Hmm.
तो ऐसे we got initial big clients, and then
Wow.
and we were good with like providing solutions, creative solutions. Clients were
Hmm.
happy, and then we started expanding.
Wow. So that guys, I mean, listeners, तुम सुन रहे हो मेरी बात? I mean, just look at the subtlety and the modesty जिसके साथ ना रिकी बोलता है कि हाँ, like, हमने solution अच्छा दिया, client खुश होता है, तो लाके हमने बड़ा कर दिया काम बस.
No, but the service business works on that entire model,
No, no,
right?
but
Like,
definitely, yeah, yeah. I'm kidding on that part, but it definitely works. It works on that model, and that is how you expand and grow once you start catering to all the biggies, and the money starts flowing in, and then you start to do more work, and more money comes, and you expand. That's how the work really happens. So, Vicky, now that we know about your business, okay, why don't we start dive into your journey, specifically
mm,
your journey, and learn more about you and how did your entrepreneurial mindset develop for that matter. And one thing which I can definitely tell my listeners, guys, this was off the record, that I got to know that Ricky is a Marwadi. So इतना तो मुझे पता है कि रिकी के खून में धंधा है, ठीक है. रिकी पैदा हुआ था तो खून में धंधा था.
okay, then that too. And my partner is a Sindhi, so
Oh my god. And I'm a baniya.
yeah, so yeah, पैसा हमारे रग रग में है.
I can understand now. So Ricky, let's dive into that journey, and why don't you start from the very beginning, like how it was, and tell me more about your childhood. More about
Okay,
your
so
childhood and
basically,
how
I
it
don't know
was and
whether you know of
everything.
this. I'm born in this one of the smallest states in the country called Sikkim.
Sikkim, yeah. Okay.
Sikkim, so I come from this small, it's a very small state, right, Sikkim. So
Mm-hmm.
I got my
Mm-hmm.
engineering, I did my engineering from TSEC to there, where I met Dooj. And
Okay.
basically, I got placed here. And when you come from a very small state, Bombay like hits
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
especially like how people are, like Angrezi, like English becomes very important. I don't know why. I think that's a culture that I never understood in India after traveling the world, where language judges people, like especially in Bombay.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can't speak English, you are considered as some dumb fuck on the street. Like, it's very strange. Like when I go to Japan, nobody speaks English and they're the smartest around. Like इंडिया में अंग्रेजी नहीं बोल पाए तो मतलब वो ब्रिटिश का अभी तक चल रहा है. Like townies, like there were like groups in our colleges, English speaking group,
Huh.
Marathi speaking group. I don't know whether you had it, but in our college it was there,
Huh.
and I
Okay.
think this culture still exists, right?
Okay.
Like it's a very Indian culture of judging people on English. So initially it was tough, just setting into that whole system of like making friends and
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. Coming from Sikkim, Hindi wasn't great, English wasn't great. We used to speak Nepali there in Sikkim. Then like altering and adjusting to a completely new environment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then we basically what happened is met Dooj and two of Rohan, and then we basically made this engineering group and did a
Huh.
final year project. and then I think in between Dooj got placed in Accenture and I got placed in Infosys.
Right.
Infosys was out of Bombay. I didn't want to leave Bombay, and Dooj
Okay.
was Accenture. And then it was that 2009 time when the recession had kicked in, when
Mm-hmm.
where the companies were not giving like offers, like they were not giving
Mm-hmm.
like confirmation letters. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we sold off our project and we said 4 महीने का तो सैलरी मिल ही गया, अभी चालू कर लेते हैं, क्या फर्क पड़ता है. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll sell two more solutions and then we'll start. So that's how the whole entrepreneurship journey started. And
Mm-hmm.
then like we got like some of the biggest clients in the country initially only, and we got a
Right.
lot of good funding because of those clients
Right.
initially. And we were like lean, so for us
Mm.
that just became like the way we started.
Right.
And yeah, and then now we are here 11 years working with some of the biggest clients.
11 years, right. नहीं तो फिर मेरे को ये बताओ रखी how like tell me more about your childhood. Like you were in
Mm.
Sikkim, so how was your like what do your parents do and
So my dad is a government contractor.
okay.
He basically builds bridges, buildings, lot of stuff there. My
Mm-hmm.
mom's a housewife, yeah, and then I did my education in this school called Holy Cross, which is quite famous in Sikkim. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, like I was interested in cricket, wanted to become a cricketer, but never, I
Mm-hmm.
don't think I had the talent to become a cricketer. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then, yeah, like good in studies. I was always good in studies. Uh,
Okay.
then I came to, like, it's like a very small town, like any grown up from a small town, like
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Yeah, very
Okay.
different from how a Bombay person gets brought up. Like for me, like I used to remember like seeing McDonald's ads on TV and see
Uh,
kya hai? What is
uh,
this clown doing on the TV? What is McDonald's? Like you understand what I'm saying? Like for us,
right.
like we didn't know
Right.
what McDonald's is, we didn't know what
Uh,
KFC is, and we used to see all these ads on TV. That's
hmm.
the upbringing.
Right. I get it. I get it. Okay. And so Ricky, if I have to ask, like, with everyone, okay, there are some points at which we can say that this was the point where the entrepreneurial seeds got sown into their blood. Apart from being a Marwadi, obviously, if I ask you to look back at your life and tell me that Sarthak, this is what happened or this is whom I saw in my life, जिनकी वजह से I can say I was more inclined to doing a business. Yeah, it somewhere got in the blood. Is there anyone or any
So
instance
I
or
think
anything?
I don't know whether I told you in the initial podcast. So I
Hmm.
don't know whether you've heard of this guy called Pranab Mistry. If you guys
Right.
do Pranab Mistry TED Talk, it was one of the biggest viral TED Talk that went, right.
Hmm.
So That's where one of the initial things came in, wherein we wanted to do solutions. And we
Hmm.
have always had that era of doing something on our own. Like in college days, we started this forum called investorforum.com, the,
Right.
a website where we can give investment tips. We
Hmm.
started a blog called lalsatri.blogspot.com where we used to give jokes.
Right.
So we were always inclined to do something new and innovative always. And वो हमेशा था यार, like in third year engineering, fourth year engineering में हम लोग blog चालू करते थे. सब
Hmm.
fail हो गया, but like investor forum started, Lal Chhatri started. Like as we remember making a website for a restaurant in Navi Mumbai. We remember
Okay.
making like a small website for a client in UK who
Okay.
who gave us $2. We were thinking
Okay.
that we'll get $2,000, but we
Uh,
got $2. We didn't even take his money. Like
oh my
so
God.
stuff like
Right.
that. So entrepreneurship journey started during engineering times only, where we
Hmm.
all wanted to do something different.
Hmm.
I think the fact an entrepreneur, like what differentiates an entrepreneur is not ready to settle. He's
Hmm.
not ready to settle for that pay slip. He's not ready to settle for anything. He
Right.
always feels that he can do something better.
Right.
Right? So that वो अंदर से होता है कीड़ा, वो फीलिंग होता है कि I can start a startup, I can make
Uh,
a 5,000 crore company, I can do this. So that a
uh,
lot of that self belief is there, and that's where the journey always starts. Difference between a salaried employee and a
uh,
entrepreneur is willing to believe in his talent and
right.
not willing to settle. He's willing to fail,
Right.
stand up, fail again, stand up, and then keep like innovating or keep doing something different, right? So
Hmm.
it's a pure mindset problem, and especially when you're brought up in a business family,
Uh,
you've always seen people like working in business and all that stuff, so
hmm.
it
Hmm.
becomes easier.
So, whom did you see in your family who was into business, and whom what
Like
you
my
really
dad
picked up
was
from
into
them?
business, so
Okay.
I've been grown up like he was in service business, plus he used to do cardamom business.
Okay.
Seeing ups and downs around me and my whole family, right? My taus, my uncles, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You always had conversation around business, and eventually that like adds to your mindset of like how the business should run. Like you should have your own business and
Hmm.
all that stuff. So yeah,
Fair
like
enough.
the growth of being an entrepreneur comes from like when you're very small. Like
Absolutely.
surroundings play a very important role. That
Hmm.
ability to take risk and believe in yourself comes from like very small, and then yeah, that's how it works.
That's nice. So, I mean, now it's pretty clear that the seeds were sown from your dad and from your uncle and Pranav Mistry out there. So, looking at those people, you were all sorted and you did your schooling. And then, so yeah, you are the CCO and you're one of the best
So
CCOs out there in the
CCO,
world.
I am the CEO of
Okay.
CEO is Dooj. He handles the creatives. I handle the entire operations.
Okay. And you take care of the creativity, right?
No, no, no. Dooj does the
Do
creative.
this thing. Okay, but still, you both are in the creative part, and
Yeah,
uh, you guys. I mean, you guys do complement each other. Come on,
yeah.
it just cannot be one way, right? So I mean, you guys are I don't know, the best creatives out there. So I would want to know what has added to your creative mindset. Like, were you one of those artists in the school, or why?
No, no. I wasn't like like the fact is that look, great creativity is just not about understanding creativity. Like, look, you
Hmm.
can think of this the world's changing idea, but if it's not possible, right? For us,
Hmm.
creativity always came from our understanding of the technology that goes behind running all solutions. Now,
Hmm.
if you know how a website is built, like
Hmm.
if you know how a product is built, right? How an app is built, for you
Right.
to innovate on it, it becomes easier.
Absolutely.
So so the basic understanding of look, a lot of people don't understand how technology works, right? That's where the
Hmm.
creativity, like if you meet this creative guy, he'll randomly say, why don't we change the color of Facebook for our
Hmm.
brand?
Hmm.
Like, wow.
Hmm.
Like I've heard like the CCO of a company saying it,
Hmm.
right? A mainline guy. But they don't understand that that's technically not possible, right? So the whole
Hmm.
fact is that when you know what goes behind the scenes, for you
Hmm.
to become creative becomes, or for you to understand ideas
Right.
and executable ideas, right? What we call it, there are great ideas and there are executable ideas.
Right.
So those great executable ideas come from that whole understanding, and then we keep evolving. We've always started looking for new technology solutions, new ideas, all that stuff. So always being ahead of like what's happening in the world and all that stuff really helps.
Right. Right. Okay. So that's there and so school में मतलब ऐसा कुछ खास नहीं किया. School life मस्ती
स्कूल
में
में
काट
तो
दी.
मतलब क्रिकेट खेलते थे, पढ़ते थे, like my I told you, right, my partner was a visual jockey in NG.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
So that was like that was his artistic side. He was good with like playing visuals and all that stuff, and that's visual and technology we basically added. We used to do installations in like clubs of video mapping, AR, VR solutions. Like we
Hmm.
remember like doing like an entire technology gig in Gen Z then with AR,
Hmm.
VR, video mapping and all that stuff long back. So yeah.
My God, I can't even imagine that doing long
Mm.
back. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
this is
yeah.
all like 2010, 11 story. Now it may just
Hmm.
seem like okay, but then
Right.
like that point in time it was like very new and innovative.
I can completely imagine. Okay, so now tell me, Ricky, that you are in engineering. पहले तो ये बताओ, engineering जाने का decision खुद का था, घर वालों का था, क्या
नहीं
था?
नहीं खुद का था यार. My parents had never forced me to do anything. At least the really good part of like parenting is not to tell a child to do anything, right? We had
Hmm.
a very like I would call it like parents who supported, not supported as well. It's just that it was there, right? Like nobody forced us to do anything. Like so, engineering was like a choice made by me.
Okay.
Um, lot of people say engineering से कुछ होता नहीं है, but I feel like it added a lot of like like look at you right now, you're doing podcast and you have other businesses as
Right.
you
Right.
somewhere that has to come from that mindset of like put like अरे life में कुछ करना है यार, like I can't go through this shit, right? So that engineering has always helped in that.
Right.
So it was
I mean,
not like forced and nobody
uh,
wanted me to be an engineer.
right.
Like I'm a only engineer in my family.
Oh,
So my sister is a lawyer. My
wow.
sister is a lawyer. My brother is an MBA graduate. Yeah.
My God. Okay. Okay. That's nice. I mean, घर में सारे ही है. Engineer भी है, lawyer भी है, MBA graduate भी.
Mm.
That's great, यार. So you were in CS, right? If I'm not wrong.
Computer science, yeah, yeah.
हाँ ये देखो तभी तभी कोडिंग में इतना इतने इजीली कोडिंग होती है
Yeah.
मुझसे बट मैं बहुत बोर हो जाता हूँ एक पॉइंट के बाद
नहीं
बहुत
नहीं
थक
बोर
जाता हूँ
मतलब तो वो तो अभी भी हम अभी तो आई एम नॉट कोडेड फॉर सो मेनी इयर्स.
हाँ
Now I have people to do it, but yeah, it was fun, yeah, like building apps. Like we built this video conversion tool called Motion Man. It was,
हाँ
I think, I don't remember the website name, but it was voted one of the best 10 softwares in that year. And
ओ
we got
वाह
such big kicks about it. And this is like, used to build like the first few years we made this to software digital, which we sold for 2 lakh rupees. And then
राइट
we made a video processing tool called Motion Man.
हाँ
Like I don't know whether it's available on online right now, but
हम्म
same thing that what digital used to do with images, the Motion Man
हम्म
used to do with video conversion, like converting MPEG to MP4 and all that
हम्म
stuff. I mean,
हम्म
got voted, and that's where the whole kira of coding really helped. Like I was good with like system coding, software coding, and Dooj was really good with like HTML, more visual part of coding,
राइट
designing
हाँ
HTML, CSS, and that's where we came and became a team, and that has really worked for us.
That's great, यार. I mean, this duo is an amazing duo. I would definitely say. मतलब एक टेक्निकल भी हो गया, क्रिएटिव भी कवर हो गया. ठीक है, कोडिंग दोनों को आती है.
Hmm.
संभाल सकते हैं बस. यहाँ देखो. Guys, understand. बेजोस हो गया, मस्क हो गया, यहाँ दूज और रिकी हो गए, ठीक है. बिल गेट्स हो गया, लेट मी पिक, स्टीव जॉब्स हो गया. हर बड़े इंसान को कोड करना आता है. लॉजिकल रीजनिंग चाहिए होती है, समझो.
I think with coding, you can actually create solutions and softwares, stuff
राइट.
that you've not thought of, right? So it all really helps.
I mean, see, what I believe, Ricky, is that with coding, what really happens is, uh, you get to know that you firstly you understand the logic behind everything.
Yeah.
Secondly, you are able to work on an algorithm, right?
Mm,
That's what I really focus on. मतलब I honestly I hate coding. ठीक है,
mm,
जितनी बार उसमें घुस घुस के डिटेल आउट करना पड़ता है और लूप्स चेक करना पड़ता है, I hate that part. I
mm,
cannot deal with that. But what I really love is working on algorithms. I can
mm,
come down to an algorithm. I know that this shit will work. If
mm,
this thing gets done, this will work. And then वो चल जाती है, मुझे पता है. So
mm.
that is something I totally love. But literally typing it out, I
Yeah,
hate that.
typing is the worst part. I think the thinking is like how you think, and like I think it allows you to think, right? Like it allows you to like do structural thinking, logical
Hmm.
thinking, like
Hmm.
and it's literally like on a notepad. Like you have to
Absolutely.
write everything. There's no like a system that gives you it. Right. I
Right.
remember like in my engineering day, I got this kick about making a compiler. Now
Hmm.
I think you'll understand what a compiler is since you are an engineer.
Right.
Compiler is basically a system that checks whether your code doesn't have syntax.
Absolutely.
So and then converts the once the compiler goes through your code and then it
Huh.
basically then translates into what we call is binary form of that simple code,
Right.
right?
Right.
So like we had I think system programming or something in the third year or something, and I got this kick about like ये compiler तो बनाना है.
एक compiler.
लाइक कंपाइलर बना मतलब थोड़ा तो चला था यार 10,000 लाइन का कोड बन गया था सी में. थोड़ा चल
हाँ.
रहा था कंपाइलर. आई गॉट रियली एक्साइटेड. कंपाइलर
Oh.
बन गया. एक
हाँ.
थोड़ा
हाँ.
बहुत कैपिटल चेक करो, स्मॉल लेटर चेक करो, सेमीकोलन
हाँ.
चेक करो. वो सब
हाँ.
बनाया था. सो या लाइक दैट कोडिंग वाज ऑलवेज देयर एंड देन यू लर्न सो मेनी एल्गोरिथम्स. फर्स्ट इन फर्स्ट आउट लिंक्ड लिस्ट,
Oh my
P4,
God,
V4,
right. I still remember that. I mean,
all that
that's from the
stuff.
class 12 because I'm not a CS engineer, I'm a
Mm.
triple E guy.
Okay.
But I still remember from the school days. And just like you had the kick to make a compiler, na? In my school, I had the kick to make an operating system. So
Oh
when I
yeah, yeah.
see
So the compiler is a part of an OS, right? Operating system is one part of the OS.
राइट राइट, तो मैंने सी प्लस प्लस पे आई गेस मैंने एक टेम्पररी छोटा मोटा ओएस बना लिया था. मैंने कहा भाई ये
Really
तो काम करेगा, है ना. अभी
good.
थोड़ा बनाया थोड़ा दिखाया, मैंने कहा अब मैं पक गया, मुझे और कोड नहीं करना, छोड़ो गोली मारो.
वो होता है. Like the point with engineers now, till it's a challenge, it's fun. Till you know it can be done, then you say fuck
राइट.
it हो जाएगा यार. अभी तो सिर्फ
हाँ.
लिखना ही है. So you leave it.
हाँ.
Like that's exactly what happened with me when I was building a compiler.
हाँ.
We are
हाँ.
um like बन जाएगा. Like I remember like same thing happened. We had this I think digital graphics or some course in engineering.
हम्म.
So where
हम्म.
we had to do Bitcoin, like literally, like we're using code to design graphics,
ओके.
like like uh, like how to draw a circle,
I
like
remember that. I
yeah,
remember that software. I've used that software. The virtual something something. I mean, I've made turtles and whatnot over that. I
yeah.
remember.
But this was made through coding. I don't know whether the software also coding. C में बनाते थे.
हाँ
So
हाँ हाँ
basically
हाँ हाँ.
circle, triangle, so we got super excited because one day I made a traffic light with a car crossing.
Okay.
So like stuff like that, you get excited, and then you understand how eventually like an Adobe Photoshop is made.
Right.
Like right, all these algorithms then teach you. It's like a backbone of an Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop, right? A person just
Hmm.
uses a drag and drop tool to draw a
Right.
line. How is
Right.
that line is drawn is through an Adobe, like through a backend system, which is powered by all the systems.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's crazy, yeah. And now that we know you've got into engineering में तो engineering की first year से कुछ कहते हैं ना bombs फोड़ना शुरू किए थे या फिर it
नहीं
was like
नहीं फर्स्ट ईयर
only
तो
building?
मैकेनिक्स क्लियर करने में टाइम लग गया था. आई डोंट नो.
Oh my God.
I
Oh
don't know
my
whether
God.
you know this, but in that ours engineering mechanics is supposed to be like the god of all subjects.
I know. I know. I know.
Like
बहुत बहुत मुश्किल से निकलता है वो. Oh my God. I still
बिल्कुल.
remember trust बड़ी मुश्किल समझ में आता है मुझे. Oh shit.
तो मैकेनिक्स तो पहला साल तो डर से निकल गया. यार ये मैकेनिक्स क्लियर होगा कि नहीं.
हाँ.
Like like
Okay.
I didn't take tuition for
हम्म.
mechanics. People used to look at me saying, "What's wrong with you?"
Okay.
So like then yeah, cleared mechanics, and then yeah, then second, third year, I think we started working well when we had this group of 4 or 5 of us that we had to use
हम्म.
another friend mind, and then we
Hmm.
started doing stuff together, Dooj
Right.
and all that stuff.
Right. So tell me one thing, Ricky. In the second, third, fourth, in the when you guys started doing the work during the second, third, and fourth years. So probably during the second year, your third year, did you really think in your wildest of the dreams कि यार हम entrepreneurs बनेंगे and we would be kicking our jobs out?
No, so वो तब सोचा नहीं था. देखो इंजीनियरिंग में क्या होता है ना, you have this mindset of getting a job, like
हाँ,
Infosys, TCS, किधर
हाँ,
प्लेसमेंट. यू हियर स्टोरीज राइट,
I
इसको
know.
गूगल पे प्लेसमेंट आ गया, इसको फेसबुक में प्लेसमेंट हो गया.
हाँ,
लाइक इन इंडिया ना वो अच्छी चीज नहीं है. लाइक तो 10th में आप बात करते हो बोर्ड एग्जाम्स के, इसको 90% आया, फिर ये 12th में
hmm,
आईआईटी हो गया. So you
right.
keep hearing those stories in engineering. It moves into like colleges, then placements.
Hmm, hmm,
Like
hmm.
गूगल में हो गया, फेसबुक में हो गया. Like इसका पैकेज 30 लाख है, 20 लाख है. So like even lot of this like TVF stories or videos I made around this whole concept of engineering, like how you are trained to think of like getting your best job, right? So second third year में नहीं था यार. Like
Hmm,
आई थिंक थर्ड ईयर में प्लेसमेंट चालू हुआ था, तब तो जॉब चाहिए, जॉब ले लेते हैं. वो
hmm,
वो तब मेंटालिटी था नहीं एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का. मतलब मेंटालिटी एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप का होता है कि आपको कुछ अलग करना है. इनिशियली
hmm.
स्टार्ट से कुछ अलग करना है, कुछ अलग करना है. जैसे ट्रैफिक लाइट बना दिया ग्राफिक्स में जो आउट ऑफ सिलेबस था, कंपाइलर बना दिया, किसी ने नहीं बनाया था, मेरे पार्टनर ने वेबसाइट बना दिया. तो
हाँ,
कुछ अलग करने का रहता है.
hmm,
एंड देन स्टोरी दैट अलग करने से ही वो फीलिंग देन बिकम्स एन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप फीलिंग,
hmm, hmm, hmm.
right? Like it's not like you wake up and say, now maybe it's the case because you see so many startups
Hmm,
like Zomatos and like startups, and maybe like people who get into engineering now feel like let me start a startup,
hmm.
right? पहले वो स्टार्टअप कल्चर था नहीं. हम लोग को
I
गूगल
know,
फेसबुक से ही खुश हो जाते थे.
I
अरे
know.
गूगल में हो रहा है, किसी का इसमें हो रहा है. सो या उससे चालू हुआ. फिर देन
Then,
थर्ड ईयर में प्लेसमेंट हो गया.
hmm, हाँ,
फिर सोचा क्या अभी हो गया, ये चीज है like or this stupid shit that I have to go and work in Mysore or something, get
हाँ,
trained and like bench में बिठाएंगे, किधर बिठाएंगे क्या मालूम.
hmm,
uh, then we started doing something on our own, started
hmm,
making money. Like one of the stories that we did, I don't know, a lot of people know, we started investorforum.com, right? Now how
hmm.
do you make money on investorforum.com is by placing ads
Right.
on like Google AdSense करके टेक्नोलॉजी है.
I
आई डोंट
know,
नो
I
व्हाट
know.
यू लाइक. गूगल
Right.
एडसेंस से हम लोग ने अपने साइट पे बैनर डालना चालू कर दिया.
हाँ,
Then every time someone clicks on it, we start making money on it, right?
I
So
know.
what we did was, um, we went to our college, and
हाँ,
every floor में राउटर होता था.
हाँ,
तो
हाँ, I
वो
know.
लैपटॉप लेके ना हर राउटर के आईपी एड्रेस चेंज करके हम लोग वो बैनर पे क्लिक करके पैसा कमाते थे. So we went to each floor, clicked on the ad ourselves, made some $30, and then got banned
Oh
from
my
Google
god.
Ads. So,
My god.
like, a lot of people don't know stories like this, right? You've done Kira like this engineering. So,
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ.
so वो सब किया है, like, because you understand
Okay.
how tech works. तो चलो क्लिक करते हैं, खुद के ad पे क्लिक करो, खुद का वेबसाइट, खुद के ad क्लिक करो और पैसा कमाओ.
Oh my god. I wanted to do that. मेरे साथ प्रॉब्लम ये हुई थी, मेरी वेबसाइट पे एड्स अप्रूव नहीं हुए थे. So मेरे को
अच्छा,
वहां
ads
गुस्सा
approve
आ
नहीं
गया
हुए
था.
थे.
हाँ, मेरे को एड्स अप्रूव नहीं हुए थे, तो मुझे वहां गुस्सा आ गया था कि उन्होंने किया नहीं. वो अब हुआ नहीं, फिर मैंने कहा गोली मारो, अब मैं इतना कंटेंट नहीं डाल सकता बैठ के. हटाओ ऐसे.
हम लोग तो मस्त तो जाके हर राउटर पे क्लिक करके आते थे. फिर
हाँ,
बैन हो गया है.
$30 के बाद
थर्टी
मैंने
डॉलर
तो
कमाया था
हाँ
यार.
कमाए 30 ना, बट मिनिमम पे आउट वाज $100. Like it
Yeah,
has been
something like that.
$100.
Yeah, I think we were
Right.
chasing at $100
हाँ, 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 I remember that. Oh my god. That's a great story, yeah,
Yeah.
to the addition. So I mean, it's pretty evident now that third year हो गया, fourth year में शुरू हो गया. So if I'm not wrong, you guys didn't take up your jobs, right? Offer
No,
letter
we
आ गया
never
था,
took
but
our jobs, right?
you
We
never
started
took our
straight
job,
from college.
right? Straight from
Uh,
college.
that's what I'm saying,
Oh,
right? When you get that
हाँ,
that 2 lakh rupees for us was the initial funding to
हाँ,
innovate and do something,
हाँ, हाँ, हाँ,
right?
हाँ,
We said 4 4 महीने का सैलरी हो गया है, अभी सिर्फ और
हम्म,
6 महीने का सैलरी कमाना है, so that
हम्म,
हमको ये जॉब नहीं करना है. So the
हाँ
fact that that money was paid to us initially, we did our
हाँ
math and said, dude, ये तो नहीं
हाँ
job तो नहीं करना है.
जॉब
And
तो
then
नहीं
that's
करना. I
तो
mean,
फिर
guys, this is what exactly happens with entrepreneurs. कि जब when you really learn how to make 100 from a zero or maybe a one from a zero, then you don't want to stay at that position. You want to do that again and again and again and again, right?
hmm,
वही है. I mean, I can very well see in talking to Ricky that once they got that 2 lakhs, they understood it कि भाई हमने अगर इससे ये कर लिया तो 4 महीने का 1 साल भी हम कर सकते हैं, right
हाँ
Ricky?
वैसा था वो यार. So I think that initial look ultimately you're looking for confidence.
Hmm.
So the fact is that somebody believed that our work is worth 2 lakh rupees then gave us a lot
Hmm.
of confidence,
Right.
right? कोई बोलता मैं इसका 1 रुपए भी नहीं दूंगा, maybe the story would have been different.
I know. I
I would
know.
have been got an MBA from somewhere,
हाँ.
stuff like that. But the fact is that somebody actually believed that 2 lakh rupees is worth for this software. It was
Hmm.
like a lot of confidence there.
Absolutely. That's absolutely true. Okay. So Ricky, moving on, right? Now we have got a clear picture and a clear timeline as to, how Blink Digital has come to fruition, how you guys started, and how your entrepreneurial mindset has actually developed to being what it was. And then जब वो कीड़ा finally kick in कर गया कि we would not be settling for anything less and we will be
Hmm.
working for the better part of it and moving on. So
Hmm.
अब जब ये शुरू हो गया and you started getting in clients and everything, so this evolution, I mean, I would say that you guys have seen the evolution, right? And you guys have literally evolved with the evolving digital literacy in India. So I would want you to
Hmm.
tell us that how has this evolution with digital literacy benefited you in your journey?
I think it has benefited us for making more money, I guess. पैसा बन गया. Like people became more tech savvy. We sold more solutions. We made more money.
Uh, okay, apart from
Like
the money part, in terms of if I talk about the business mindset, anything on that front?
so, business mindset. I think look, the point is with when you are working in
Hmm.
digital, the focus you have to be nimble, right? You have to be pretty
Right,
flexible. Things change every day, every
right.
month. So the fact is that in 10 years we've seen like Facebook
Hmm.
change, Google change, YouTube
Hmm.
change, like new platform like Clubhouse right now, which is
Hmm.
big, like now new Bitcoin,
Right.
crypto, blockchain, right? Like the fact is that when you are in tech
Hmm.
solutions or when you are in
Hmm.
digital, the fact is that as business you have to be nimble, yeah. You have to keep
Hmm.
moving. AR, VR was big then, blockchain is big
Right.
now, right? So the fact is that so all that stuff, you just be nimble and like we are not caught up with legacy, we are not caught up with
Hmm.
something. So the fact is that you have to be flexible, nimble on your feet, keep moving, keep
Right.
innovating. So as a business, that has been our DNA, wherein we've kept evolving, innovating, providing new solutions to our services and all that stuff. Yeah,
Right. Okay. That has been in the forefront.
like like NFTs. Let's give an
Right.
example.
Non-fungible
NFT
token, guys.
became big,
Right.
right?
Right.
Non-fungible token right now. Very few people heard of NFT, and we eventually the client didn't
Huh.
buy it, but we made like a deck to sell that idea to a
Right.
client. Now, how many digital agencies even know what a non-fungible token
Okay.
is,
Let's not
right?
get there, Ricky, because I
No, no, I know a lot of
no,
people
no.
know.
Point
Sorry,
being,
not to
point
generalize.
yes,
I'm talking.
point being, people do, honestly speaking, I don't mind speaking this out, but people don't even know what a podcast is right now.
Oh, yeah, oh, like that.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of people. Like the fact is that we've always been nimble. तो कुछ नया आता है तो कुछ नया करने की कोशिश होती
Hmm.
है. Like stuff like that.
Right.
Like OnePlus
Hmm.
phone. We recently unboxed the phone on in 9,000
Huh.
feet. We got like skydivers to dive and unbox that phone.
Wow.
So stuff like that we keep doing.
Wow. I mean, guys, do you listen to Ricky? Skydive में खुलवा दिया phone, unbox करा दिया.
Lovely.
Oh my god. So you guys are definitely crazy when it comes down to creativity and coming up with great solutions. So that's sorted. And we definitely see, and I mean, let me tell my listeners this part, guys. These two people, Ricky and Dooj, are insanely creative enough, so creative that they have been mentioned at the Jimmy Kimmel Show. So when you guys got mentioned at Jimmy Kimmel, I would want you to tell me firstly, how it was. Okay, what was the feeling? Secondly, uh,
So basically,
हाँ,
sorry to interrupt. This is a story.
अच्छा story क्या है?
So it's not that we got mentioned. It's one of our work that got featured in Jimmy Kimmel Show, which was KFC
हाँ
Water
हाँ,
Box. Basically, we created a box that can charge your phone. Now, if you search for KFC Water
हम्म,
Box, there are like 5 lakh results on it. It trended on Facebook for 3 days.
okay,
Right? You can look at Huffington Post, any big blog, Wired. It was on
हाँ हाँ,
time.com next to Game of Thrones. Like Massible did a 1 year anniversary of
हाँ हाँ
Waterbox.
हाँ.
Like after 1 year, Massible did a post saying Waterbox was launched on this day last year. That's how big that campaign became.
Oh my god,
So जब जिमी किमिल में बोला था हमको तो पता भी नहीं था.
अच्छा,
Like अभी so suddenly we were making a case study
हाँ
for our
हाँ,
work, and suddenly we get this video from one of my client saying, "Look at this." Then we see it, and we see that Jimmy Kimmel is mentioning our work on national television in US.
oh my god,
We are like, "What the fuck is this shit?" Like, can't believe this. Like, Jimmy Kimmel is saying, like, he starts this whole thing saying, "Do you even know there's a KFC in India?" Like, that's how he starts and says that they launched this box that can charge your
हाँ
phone. And then he goes ahead and makes some fun of it,
हाँ,
obviously for the
right,
jokes. But the fact is that it got mentioned
hmm,
there. Like how many campaigns globally gets mentioned,
right,
right? There you can, and these are not paid stuff where you can influence US media and all
right.
that stuff, right? So the fact that it got mentioned
Hmm.
there is just crazy. Like we were like, wow, what the fuck is this shit?
So when this news came out in the Indian market, how did it impact your business?
Like it's like people were like, "Kaise kiya? Kyun kiya? Can you do it for
Uh,
us?" Like and all that stuff. Yeah, like it impacted positively,
right.
obviously. But then, being in a creative business, the client expects you to do something similar for
हाँ
their
जी.
brand. वो भी चैलेंज ही है. मतलब अगर जिमी किमल के शो में मैं हर कैंपेन लेके आऊंगा तो मैं आज इधर नहीं बैठा होता. न्यूयॉर्क में मस्त एक मैनहट्टन में मस्त बिल्डिंग खरीद के
Oh,
बैठा हुआ था.
dude, that's like goals. Oh my god, I can understand. Right. Okay. So now that we're talking about Jimmy Kimmel and the awards and everything. So I mean, it's pretty evident. Everyone knows that you guys have won plenty of awards, like plenty of big
Hmm.
awards out there in the digital market and in the
Hmm.
digital space. So I would want to know that how has that changed you as an entrepreneur? How has that affected your mindset? And
So, like,
right.
I'll tell you what
Hmm.
happened, right? So, I think we were the second agency in India to win a Webby. Um, I don't know whether you know about
Hmm.
Webby or the listeners. Webbies are supposed to be Oscars for digital in the
Right,
world.
right.
It's like it happened in New York once
Huh.
ago, and we got it for this AR app that we built for KFC, where you scan any
Hmm.
currency and it show you what you can buy for that
Hmm.
currency. This was, I think, 2014 or
Right.
15. We really young. We went for that award show.
Hmm.
Like, so the award show happens with like a week, which is called the Internet
Hmm.
Week, where the 7 days of who's of New York, whole of America
Hmm.
comes and shows you
Hmm.
innovation. Like literally like Massible 2014 was the talk of the town. The founder of Massible was
Right.
there and stuff
Hmm.
like that. Like who's of the American world
Right.
comes. We got so inspired by
Hmm.
that. Like I remember, like I don't remember, like on the in the Webby
Hmm.
Awards, the founder of Web was there. The guy who created World Wide Web. I don't remember his
Hmm.
name now. Uh, like it was crazy to be in that award show, and you like literally met like the guys who are doing some great stuff on the internet.
Hmm.
And And the fact is that like our tagline of our company is internet can't be
right.
stopped. So so the fact is that we've always lived on the internet. We always believed the internet is the
Mm-hmm.
medium that really inspired us to like do great stuff, right? Like some of the startups, for example, like um, you will like have startups which are like I remember like meeting somebody in Uber
Okay.
in 2014 like in
Mm-hmm.
US during the Webby Award
Mm-hmm.
show. So stuff like that, just like this, that's where the whole that whole startup app culture, the internet culture starts. Right? That's why I love the Webbies.
Right.
Don't love One Show, Clio that
Mm-hmm.
much. Though we have won
Mm-hmm.
those and been on those award
Right.
shows. The difference between when you're attending an internet award show like a Webby, you just don't meet advertising people.
Right.
एडवर्टाइजिंग पीपल मैं क्या बोलता हूँ ज्ञानी लोग होते
Mm.
हैं मतलब ज्ञान बहुत बांटते हैं अननेसेसरी ज्ञान ब्रांड के लिए ये किया ब्रांड के लिए वो किया
Uh,
मतलब कुछ सीखने को नहीं मिलता है नहीं है यार
uh,
like the fact that you sold an idea like that, I'm in that business, the fact that you sold an idea to a brand and got
mm,
money still belittles that idea itself. Though I do that in the
mm,
business, but when you meet like entrepreneurs like guys who started Uber, Facebook,
mm,
and stuff like
mm,
that, Spotify, it just like like you like it just inspires you to do good stuff. Like like always be on the edge of technology. Like that because of that we started this Bollywood website, which didn't work.
okay.
But we've always been in that whole mindset of like kuch alag karna hai. And then like webbies really gives exposes you to the who's of internet, and these are like great people, great solution
Mm,
providers, like like the biggest editor, the biggest journalist. Like it's fun to be in that award show. Like like one like when we went to one show, it was all advertising
uh,
people. Somebody did Burger King, somebody did
uh,
this. मतलब सेम चीज है हम करते हैं क्या वो भी
uh,
करते हैं but when you go for webbies it's just a very different like atmosphere of you actually meet entrepreneurs and startup
uh,
people doing fun stuff on the internet, like pure fun stuff on the internet.
right, right.
Like, for example, there was a guy who became really famous after doing
Uh,
podcasts, stuff like you,
uh,
right? And these are at global stages, not like that. So, वो मजा ही कुछ अलग है यार वेबी का. मतलब, I remember going to Goa Fest and we are like, what the fuck is this shit?
uh,
People are doing rain dance. Not that I'm demeaning the award
uh,
show, but the fact that when you live in that advertising world, it's
mm,
ads ही होता है पूरा life, right? And that's a very small world of what the world actually exists, right?
right.
आप ad brand के लिए क्या कर रहे हो, ये क्या कर
Mm,
रहे हो, तो थोड़ा limiting knowledge
mm.
होता है. Like you only meet people saying, I did this campaign, but suddenly you meet a guy who says, I made this app, which is the second most downloaded app in the US.
Oh,
You will be like, oh yeah, you now
now
you're
you're
talking.
talking.
Like
Uh,
वैसा मतलब मजा आता है यार like आप that's what so after that we only chased webbies though we won one show clears and
uh,
all the award show that we love going to like we won second time 2 years back
mm,
also for Amazon Echo.
right.
We went for webbies, the only award show that we go
Uh,
to. It's like fun to be in that award show. Yeah, matlab, like though it's not very famous in
right.
India, a lot of people don't know about it. They still like talk about cans and all that stuff, which I feel like it's all staged.
Mm,
Uh, uh, but yeah, like if you attend the right award
right.
show or the right
Uh,
awards, you get inspired to a lot of good stuff.
uh. Okay, so that's the stories behind Webbies. I mean, that's again a story, and guys, I the way I see it is an inspiration because, uh, honestly, when you start setting benchmarks for yourself, that is again a point where you start growing, probably in small steps or maybe exponentially in some exceptional reasons, but your growth starts to happen because again put yourself in an uncomfortable zone from which all you can see is a progress or doing something which makes you stand apart from the crowd. So when you target such big award shows like Webbies, you definitely have to, keep your standards high. So I mean, Ricky and Dooj have
Yeah,
done
yeah.
that
Like
very, very well.
first time we won
Uh,
it by first that we won it by
uh,
fluke. Second time was so
so
difficult. We won it after 4 years.
after 4 years, oh my god.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I honestly, there was this. I don't know. It was in Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, where it exactly did I see this, but it was a post where I guess Bhuvan Bum was at some talk show, and there was this line he said कि मैं एक point पे content अपनी खुशी के लिए बनाता था, अब मैं जनता की खुशी के लिए बनाता हूँ. Right. So
hmm.
this actually applies,
Yeah,
and I can see it relatable to your situation. That the first time when it was a fluke that was there, but now that you know you can do it, it just demands much more of hard work because
yeah, yeah. It
you
does.
know that.
The fact is
Right.
that first time you don't believe it's
Right.
possible, and it happens, and then you actually feel it can be
Hmm.
done. Then yeah, like so,
That's what I.
so yeah, like it just feels like
So how was New
um,
York? I mean, you're telling me that you went for this. It was in New York, right?
yeah, it was in New York. It was fun. Yeah, Internet Week, the entire
हाँ.
week was super fun. One of the most interesting 1 week of
So
my life.
उस एक हफ्ते में
I
और क्या
think
किया न्यूयॉर्क में?
अरे बहुत किया यार. Like we went like tried different places. We went to
हाँ.
uh, all the cool places. We attended all this Internet Week. Met a lot of cool
हाँ.
people. Like we learned about programmatic media buying.
हाँ.
Then we learned about Outbrain, which is big
Hmm.
now. They had this cool Outbrain
Hmm.
installation. So at that point, there was this cool like installation that was happening wherein there were like around 18 to 36 cameras triggered to click all at the same time to create a 180-degree
Right, I know.
photography.
Huh.
We came and we sold this to one of our
All
clients.
right.
So, so stuff like that, we learned a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And it was fun, yeah. Like suddenly from like in 2014, we were
Hmm.
young, seeing all this cool
Hmm.
stuff, seeing the whole internet. It was really fun and inspiring.
Okay, okay. And when you went to New York and all this experience happened, did it just add anything apart from the event? Definitely, but New York and America as a culture, did it add anything to your business mindset, and or probably anything from which I can you would want to say, not I can say, you would want to say that Sarthak, this changed my perspective towards XYZ in the business.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, as when you meet people outside the
Hmm.
marketing and see what products are getting developed, you start feel that the internet has so much of potential.
Right.
So the fact is that after the webbies, we felt like we should also do something else.
Hmm.
We started this Bollywood website, which didn't work. Now we do into
Hmm.
blockchain, mining. All came from that whole mindset of being innovative and doing something
Right.
different. So yeah, like it just opens like a new world that you feel that never existed, right? Like so the fact that there is so much to do and so much to
Hmm.
learn, it's like just that Webby opened it up. Yeah, it was a very refreshing experience, and because of that refreshing experience, you want to like keep doing stuff. So that's how it was. It was fun actually, and lot to
Not too
learn.
bad. Okay, okay, I get it. Now that you've been to New York also because of your, I mean, guys, this is the best thing to imagine and to do when you get to travel the world because of your work. That is like
Yeah,
one of
that's
the best
very
experiences. I have done this. Ricky has done this, so I can completely speak. It's just adds to it.
true.
And I am just actually imagining कि अगर रिकी ने वो चार्टर ले लिया होता. कितने मजा आते हैं. I mean, oh my god. Okay, so Ricky, now that we have a charter story, give me more stories like this. One of the most okay. Let's go it this way. Give me one of the most funniest stories in your experience, which has happened with you, and you always remember that.
मतलब funny story तो मतलब नहीं मतलब I don't remember
अच्छा.
anything. I remember one story where ऑफिस में क्लाइंट आने वाला
हाँ.
था तो खुद झाड़ू लगाना पड़ा.
अच्छा.
So basically, this was the initial story. This guy from one of the big companies was
हाँ
coming, and we had three
हाँ
people and very big
हाँ
client. बहुत पैसा है. So basically, I called like six of my
हाँ
friends and said, just act that you are an employee today. So I called
हाँ
like one from like my friends. So six people came
हाँ
in. छोटी सी company. The guy was sitting like a Maharaj, and there was this XLRI friend of
हाँ
mine, and the client was an XLRI
ओके
bank. So XLRI friend also came, and he was talking blah
हाँ
blah blah, and then what happened? अभी वो सब स्टेज
हाँ
था ना.
हाँ
तो आफ्टर 2 महीने बाद मेरा क्लाइंट बोलता है वो तेरा एक्सएलआर वाला कल ही सीजन गया वाला छोड़ के.
oh my god.
So yeah, so stuff like that we've
ओके
done.
ऐसे ऐसे बहुत कांड किया मतलब ऑनेस्टली बताओ गाइस इतना सीक्रेट तो मैं भी बता सकता हूँ कि ऐसे कांड ना हम इंजीनियर और मीडिया एजेंसी वालों के मुंह से ही सुना है मैंने अभी तक ठीक है मैंने ये किसी टेक या आईटी फर्म वाले के मुंह से नहीं सुना कि उन्होंने ऐसे खुराफातिया की हो जहाँ पे लोगों को बुला लिया कुछ कुछ करा लिया जुगाड़ वाले काम मेरे ख्याल से हम ही करते हैं मीडिया में घुस घुस के
हाँ वो जुगाड़ी है सब. अभी क्या जिसके पास 3,000 करोड़ का मीडिया बसा हो उसको मैं क्या बोलूंगा. 2 लोग है कंपनी वो कौन सा धंधा देने वाला. तो बहुत टाइम पास किया
Oh
था
my
मतलब
god! Oh
कि
my god!
it's fun.
That definitely sounds fun. Okay, but with all that said, right, and all the good parts, there is always also the hard parts in the journey. Okay, so one of the hard parts, which I am pretty much aware of being a creative guy, and probably you should be because creative to ho hi aap aisa nahi ho, but Dooj is as you mentioned the major creative guy. So you know creative बंद लोगों का एक creative block होता है. Wherein हमारा दिमाग चलना बंद हो जाता
Yeah,
है.
yeah,
So when you hit
yeah,
that
yeah.
saturation, then how do you deal with that point? And you know, and business भी करना है. So how does that entrepreneur and that creativity kicks in together to get out of that saturation?
I think the saturation has hit us a lot. It just becomes a block, and
Hmm.
clients think that creativity just comes like an ATM. Brief भेजो creativity आता है. The ATM मशीन है यार पैसा निकालो. मतलब उनको समझता नहीं कि टाइम लगता है सोचना पड़ता है. Sometimes just a block,
हाँ
right? Um, like I people travel, we take a time
हाँ
off, so stuff like that we do. And the biggest creative ideas come when you're actually not thinking.
absolutely. I can understand that.
Like when you don't force your mind to
हाँ
think. That's why the best creative ideas come when you
हाँ
sleep or when you're on in sleep or when you're not thinking of it, right? This comes
right.
subconsciously. So the fact is that वो मतलब वो क्लाइंट लोग को समझता नहीं है. अभी क्लाइंट लोग को सब ऐसा कैन विनिंग आइडिया चाहिए. मतलब कैन होता क्या है यार.
हाँ हाँ
मतलब वही है. So, and then you take a break. Sometimes you're not able to do
hmm.
it, and not all ideas are great, right?
Right.
Also there.
But honestly but I love this explanation and I love this reference. मैं हमेशा याद रखूंगा कि क्लाइंटों को चाहिए क्रिएटिविटी एटीएम मशीन की तरह गए निकाल के लिए.
हाँ मतलब निकाल के दे दो. मतलब लाइक दो एक हफ्ते में प्रेजेंटेशन बना के दे दो. फिर अवार्ड विनिंग आइडिया. मतलब like I think they also understand. It's not that they don't understand. It's just the fact
हाँ
that the system has been designed in such a
हाँ
way, especially डिजिटल
हाँ
में, जिसमें ये लगता है कि रोज सोते सोते आइडिया आ जाते हैं. तो आते हैं आइडियाज बट द फैक्ट इज दैट मेन लाइन में थोड़ा टाइम देते
हाँ
हैं लोग. हमारे में तो टाइम देते ही नहीं है. मतलब एंड डिजिटल हैज 10 more things to do than मेन
right.
लाइन. तो वो कॉम्प्लिकेशन तो होता ही रहता है.
Absolutely, absolutely understandable. And तो हमने एक complication की बात की and we talked about the you know creative block. What about the failures? Tell me something like tell me one of the biggest failures that you remember and what did you literally learn from it and how did you grow past it?
So 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 at the initial stage we had these two big
Okay.
clients. I would not like to name the
Uh-huh.
clients. And one client was contributing 80% to our
Oh my
revenue.
god. Okay.
So what happened is like uh, like the client was extremely demanding यार.
Uh,
मतलब सोते हुए मेरे को सपने आते थे उसके. And this was when we were young. Like wake up उसका complain, so उसका
uh,
complain. And then what happened is, and I got on a call with the boss. Okay,
uh,
eventually and said, "Why are you treating us like dogs?" Uh, or like, "Why is this like the? Why are we be getting treated like this?"
mm-hmm,
And rather than solving the solution, he decided to part ways with us.
okay,
The client decided to part ways. When you think of it like a client which was giving 80% to
uh,
us
uh,
revenue, overnight decided to move
uh,
on. So that was like a big setback to us, right? And we had like three, four big
uh,
clients. We don't have a lot of clients, we just have very big clients. So in terms of we've always focused on getting quality clients rather than getting like a lot of
right,
clients. And then like we were like, what the fuck? How do we
uh,
sustain? We've had such a big team for the client
uh,
now. 10-12 log hai and this guy is moving
mm,
out. And then we woke up and then we basically chased every client, chased their competitor, chased everyone and got their competitor on our portfolio.
okay,
So stuff like that. So we did like a lot of the
uh,
chasing, woke up, got clients, and then one of the things that we understood was never put all your eggs in one basket
mm,
um, as a
mm,
business. So then like the whole focus of the company changed from just having one big client to having a lot of multiple big clients so that you always neutralize your risk.
right.
So yeah.
Okay, so guys, this is a learning that comes from from a digital agency
Hmm.
out there, and how they've been managing stuff around that part. Okay, so you really need to pick that up no matter whatever business you're into. Do not, or look, at this point you cannot put your eggs in one basket, especially and जब corona hit हो गया है, that's again a learning. You cannot put all your eggs in one basket because if that basket goes with a hole, all your eggs are gone. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So now that we're talking about and you mentioned that this one big client, 80% revenue, and then you decide to go with multiple clients, and uh, when we also have talked about how the digital era is changing. So how do you really fear, or do you have any fear for that matter? Are you scared of anything with the upcoming times? Because जैसे digital trend की speed.
Not scared. I think
Hmm.
one of the things is like working with people is it's very difficult to predict what people can do are
Hmm.
right, and especially when you work with big corporates, there's so much of
Hmm.
hierarchy. So we always feel that we may just lose business because somebody's not happy, even if our work is
Hmm.
good. So stuff like that, and so we always challenge रहता ही
Hmm.
है. Not scared as such, but and also right now we are scared of losing
Hmm.
talent, good talent, because there's demand and there's supply,
Hmm.
right? Supply is talent, demand is
Hmm.
client. So those facts are very important to us.
Hmm. Okay, and what about, are you scared of the fact, or does it scare you at any point that the way the digital marketscape is changing in India? Now it's changing at a rapidly fast pace. Okay, like extremely rapidly fast pace. Does that scare you that it might hamper your business in any way?
No, it doesn't hamper, right? Like everything is an opportunity. If it
Mm-hmm.
changes, digital comes to the forefront, we make more money.
Hmm.
Like COVID times where we did the highest
Oh my
turnover,
god!
stuff like
Right.
that. So it's not scary. It's actually like for us, the more changes, the more it comes to the
Mm-hmm.
forefront. Uh, Look, ultimately, we are one of the best in the industry. We are in the top three, top five digital
Mm-hmm.
agencies. So the fact is that the more clients understand digital is important, and the more we become the center,
Mm-hmm.
and they want to work with the best. So that's always added to our advantage.
Right. 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 Okay. Understandable. And now that we've talked about this part and how you've learned from failures, and that how it has added to your advantage, I would also want you to shed some light, Ricky, that what have you really picked up from your clients? Because every time, I mean, learning happens from every side, right? So while working with these biggies, what have you learned from them that you have implemented in your business, I would say?
I think the thing that we learn is one of the biggest things that we learn, especially from clients like Amazon and all, is to empower your team,
Okay.
right? The fact is that if you want to scale
Mm-hmm.
up, you can't micromanage, you have to macromanage.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, The fact is that Amazon has a beautiful model like this. They put uh, they give a lot of ownership to each employee that they hire,
Okay.
and that's like something that we've been trying to build in our company itself. Wherein we don't want to micromanage, we want to macro manage. That means giving the ownership to everyone, from the junior most resources to the senior most resources,
Mm-hmm.
and that's something that we've learned. Also, yeah, like that's the positive thing that we've learned.
Mm-hmm.
There are things of like creating hierarchies, creating employee growth. Like for example, like how Google has evaluation sheet. We are trying to implement that in our
Mm-hmm.
company. I don't remember the name of how that is. I forgot the
Mm-hmm.
name. Uh, but stuff like that we've learned from corporation, and we've been trying to use this in our company.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that's what you have learned from the biggies out there. I mean, that's yeah. So, but I guess I feel like it's so lucky that Ricky has worked, and it feels so lucky to me that I'm talking to Ricky because you get to learn from the best directly.
नहीं नहीं वो देखना lucky नहीं
No,
है. Once they start, it's stressful
I
also.
understand it's stressful, but then see, learning happens in the uncomfortable zone, right? It definitely makes you very uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
that's where you learn also and grow. So I can completely understand that. Just
Hmm.
amazing, honestly.
Yeah.
So yes, okay. So now we know your fears, we know all of that, and we also know. No, I mean I know this, but my listeners don't know. There was a story that you meant. So, but guys, पता हुआ क्या था? इससे पहले हम recording शुरू करने वाले थे ना. Ricky was like, मैं एक MBA की story बताऊंगा, ठीक है? तो Ricky वो story क्या है?
So basically, right? Engineers we have to give CAT.
हाँ.
I don't know. अभी तो 2009 में CAT, 2008 में CAT दिया था. I got some 96,
What?
97 percentile.
96,
Yeah, yeah.
97 भाई कितने पढ़ाकू थे यार.
96 point something. तब आ गया. इतना पढ़ा नहीं था CAT के लिए, आ
अच्छा.
गया. हाँ. मतलब अच्छा 99 नहीं है, नहीं तो अभी मैं किधर कॉर्पोरेट जॉब
अच्छा.
करता हूँ. Um, like everything happens for good. Okay,
Right.
so क्या हुआ? एंटी गाजियाबाद का कॉल
हाँ.
आया. एंटी गाजियाबाद at that time was the top 10 MBA
Right.
institute in India,
Right.
right? तो we are like super excited. GD वेडी होता है, टाइम पास फोन बात कर रहे, तो कॉल आ गया, तो गया था इंटरव्यू. आई थिंक, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर, समवेयर इन टाउन देयर वाज द इंटरव्यू, एंड मस्त फॉर्मल टाई वाई पहन के गया था
हाँ.
मैं. like and sweating and all that stuff, and basically
हाँ.
interview हुआ. तो उसने बोला what is your
Hmm.
name? I'm like, my name is
Hmm.
Ricky. He's like, no, what is your name? I'm like, my name is
Hmm.
Ricky. I'm like, what is your real name? I'm like, my real name is Ricky. Then he got like, dude, I've asked a stupid question. Then he said, what is the meaning of your name?
Hmm.
फिर पूरी इंटरव्यू की बात लग गई. मेरे को अपना मानिंग, लाइक मेरे को अपना मीनिंग नहीं
हाँ.
मालूम था. इट्स अ जर्मन
हाँ.
नेम
हाँ.
with some emperor or king. I don't
हाँ.
remember now
हाँ.
also. But like, like the fact is that my name is such that half the people either call me
Hmm.
Vicky, or they consider my name as a nickname. So so every time I have to literally force people to understand that Ricky is my real name. And I ask my
हाँ.
mom, like, आप तो सिक्किम में हो, you've not studied enough. How did you find such a
हाँ.
modern
हाँ.
name like
Right.
Ricky? He's like, there was a guy in, like, there was one of the guys in my same age group, his nickname was
अच्छा.
Riku. So he thought of keeping me Ricky. I'm like, यार, बड़ा problem कर दिया आपने. So, like, I still remember that there's two old,
हाँ.
like, fat, not fat, I guess, mid
हाँ.
fat, 50-year-old people were asking me meaning of my name. Meaning, अरे इधर फटी पड़ी है, आपको मेरा नाम क्या? And this was the first time I realized that my name is actually considered as a nickname to people.
हाँ.
Like, he was actually asking what is your real
हाँ.
name. And after I putting my name on a fucking
हाँ.
form, like an MBA form, that's a real name, dude. why,
हाँ.
why will I put a fake name?
Right. I mean, I'm actually trying to imagine that whosoever was taking your interview, how can he not realize that a person cannot be dumb enough to put a nickname on the form?
Yeah, he was asking what is your name, what is. I'm like, my name is Ricky sir. उधर लिखा है फटी पड़ी है. अच्छा, मैंने MBA का इकोनॉमिक टाइम का पेपर रट के आया हूँ. इकोनॉमिक्स के बारे में पूछो। टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया का पूरा पेपर पढ़ के आया हूँ। मेरा जीक्यू अभी हाई है, करंट अफेयर्स हाई है। मैं ऐसे 4-5 ऐसे मॉक इंटरव्यूज दे के आया हूँ, उसमें तो ये सब नहीं पूछा।
Oh my God. तो
तो
बट ये एमबीए का डिसीजन आया कहाँ से? जब ब्लिंक शुरू हो गया तो एमबीए कहाँ से आया?
नहीं, so this was third year, right? So
अच्छा,
third year, fourth
हाँ
year,
हाँ,
okay, like engineering में क्या rat race बहुत होता है,
आई नो
rat
बहुत
race,
होते हैं।
right? आप like placement हो गया, अभी एमबीए के लिए पढ़ते
हाँ
हैं, right? You get surrounded,
हाँ,
like for example, like 10 से rat race चालू होता है
10
इंडिया
से
में,
सॉरी 9 से हो
but
जाती है
engineering में भी
यार।
बहुत सारे rat race होते हैं,
9 से हो
हाँ?
जाती है, 9 से बोलना बेटा, बस 10
9 से हो
10th
जाता है
निकाल
rat
लो,
race,
कहाँ जिंदगी सेट है। 12th निकाल लो, जिंदगी
हाँ,
सेट है।
तो बेसिक तो वही, तो फिर इंजीनियरिंग में फर्स्ट ईयर का मैकेनिक्स पेपर क्लियर करने का रैट
हाँ
रेस, सेकेंड ईयर थर्ड ईयर में प्लेसमेंट का रैट रेस, थर्ड ईयर प्लेसमेंट हो गया, अभी एमबीए का
हाँ
रैट रेस, कैट दो, जैट दो, ये दो, वो
हाँ
दो, तो हम रैट रेस में घुस गए थे। देन दिया पेपर,
हाँ,
और क्या, मतलब बिना सोच समझ के, इतना पढ़ा नहीं था कैट के
हम्म,
लिए, आई गॉट बोर्ड ऑफ इट, but then I realized that like my whole life can't depend on a single
हम्म,
paper. Like the fact is that if I would have got that English ka ek question
हम्म।
right, I would have been eligible for all big MBA
ओ
institutes.
माय
My percentile would have gone from 96.4 or something to
ओ भाई
99.
साहब, ओके।
The fact that your whole life depends on a single question itself is
हाँ
wrong. So then I said, ये shit तो मैं नहीं करने वाला next
हाँ
time
हाँ
भी.
हाँ
Like I'm not giving cat again ever in my life. Like this shit, whether I was this
हाँ
close, I said this shit is not
हाँ
happening. I can't give cat. मैंने एक क्वेश्चन गलत कर
हाँ,
दिया, वापस सेम
हाँ,
बैक, मतलब you can't depend, like it's weird, right? Like
आई
all
नो
this
आई
stuff,
नो,
like this system that has been
हाँ,
created to judge
राइट,
you. It was weird, so I thought like ये सब तो नहीं होने वाला यार मेरे से, मैं नहीं करूँगा next time. So then I never gave
राइट,
cat, never even cared about it. I said, Nikhil, okay, let's focus on it.
okay, okay, okay. That's great to know. Yeah, so that's again a good story that comes out. So, Ricky, I mean, your journey has been really fun. I mean, your journey is
Hmm.
honestly like a engineer वाले की proper journey. मस्ती भी मारी है, काम भी किया है, और खूब बकचोदी में जिंदगी काटी है.
हाँ, वैसा ही है इंजीनियर, लाइक बकचोदी, बहुत टाइम पास किया, बट आई लुक, लॉट ऑफ पीपल क्रिटिसाइज इंजीनियरिंग,
Right.
राइट? लाइक लॉट ऑफ पीपल
Hmm.
क्रिटिसाइज इट, राइट? लाइक क्या, लाइक थ्री इडियट्स में
हाँ
दिखाया
हाँ
है,
हाँ.
मूवीज में दिखाया
Hmm.
है, बट one of the things that engineering really does
Hmm.
well is tells you how to adapt
Absolutely.
to like any
Exactly.
challenges. Like it throws shit at you and you just
Right.
overcome, right? Like you don't know
Right.
then.
Right.
You
Right.
don't know. You're like, why am I mugging up this entire book in
Hmm.
3 days,
Hmm.
2 days?
Hmm.
What is the use of this
Hmm.
shit? But then suddenly, like I have to learn marketing
Hmm.
overnight. That training kicks in.
Right.
That training to make sure that you survive this
Right.
trend, you survive, that training kicks in, right? Like the whole fact is that you've been trained in that
Hmm.
manner. So like stuff like this, right? That's why a lot of the startups are owned and run by
Oh,
engineers,
absolutely.
like because that mindset is always right.
Right.
The mindset to never give in comes from a very engineering, like that's why in our company
Hmm.
also we hire engineers, we value engineers a lot, though engineering has no connection with
हाँ.
marketing. We believe that an
Hmm.
engineer, look, you can't you can learn stuff,
Right.
but you can't like you can't like, होता है ना, मतलब एक एक बेसिक स्टूडेंट को आप उसका एप्टीट्यूड, और क्या बोलते, सॉरी आई फॉरगॉट, द फैक्ट इज दैट इफ योर एप्टीट्यूड इज
Hmm.
राइट, you can learn any damn
Right.
thing,
Absolutely right. I agree. Right.
right? So the fact that you cleared engineering means that your aptitude is
Hmm.
right? And I can teach you media, I can teach you creative, I can teach you
Right.
everything. The fact is that if you don't have the initial
Hmm.
talent, then मैं आपको कुछ भी सिखा दूं, आप सीखने वाले तो हो नहीं.
Hmm.
So that's where, at least in our company, we believe like hiring engineers, hiring people with that skill
हाँ.
set really works to our advantage.
हाँ.
And because they are quick learners,
Right.
आप उनको shit आप उनको गोबर दे दो, वो डायमंड बना देंगे यार इंजीनियर्स ओवरनाइट। मतलब टैलेंट है वो, लाइक वो एजुकेशन सिस्टम से ही होता है यार। मतलब
हाँ.
lot of people criticize engineering, talk like MBBS and all that
Hmm.
stuff. But when you are put into that system of rigor and hell,
Hmm.
when you actually feel it's
Hmm.
hell, you come out like, dude, I can do shit in my life. Like, and this you realize after 5 years of working,
Right.
and that's a talent that an education system actually brings
Hmm.
you. That's why I think even if you look at Indian engineers
Right.
across the globe, right? Google is run
Huh.
by an Indian, Microsoft is run by an
Huh.
Indian. All are coming from Indian mindset.
Right.
That whole fact is, if you go to San Francisco, all the big companies have Indian
Huh.
engineers. The fact that the learning comes from that whole system that you have to go
Huh.
through. Maybe it's a system that's not designed practically, but I think वो थोड़ा हो जाता है। मतलब the fact that you learn, evolve, you've been put into that situation really comes to your foray when you actually start your journey.
That's absolutely right, Ricky. Because as an engineer, all the one thing that I come to a ground is that इंजीनियरिंग तुम्हें इतना सिखा देती है कि तुम कुछ भी कर सकते हो, झेल सकते हो,
हाँ, वही कुछ भी कर सकते हो कुछ भी
तुम
कर
झेल
सकते हो।
सकते हो.
हम
हाँ.
इंजीनियर या आप झेल सकते हो। हम एक इंजीनियर ना कॉपीराइटर भी 2 दिन में बन जाएगा।
I know that.
2 दिन
I
में बन
know
जाएगा
that.
उसको बनना है ना, वो 2 दिन में कॉपी राइटिंग भी सीख जाएगा, बन जाएगा और कॉपी लिख के like I think Ogilvy's NCD is an engineer.
Okay.
Lot of these good NCDs, I think even JWT, I don't know,
हाँ.
Senthil, he is an engineer, I think, I'm not
Right.
sure. But a lot of the good creatives are engineers, yeah.
Absolutely right. I mean, this is the
Because creativity doesn't need education.
right.
It needs the right mindset, right? Dooj itself he himself is an
हाँ.
engineer. Has
हाँ.
won Clio's, won shows. I don't think so any other digital agency apart from Bet Chutney have won so many international awards
हाँ.
than us.
हाँ.
The fact that his work has been recognized across. He was in the top three, the chief creative officer in one show last to last
Right.
year. That itself shows that like an engineering
हाँ. हाँ.
mindset
हाँ.
like really makes you evolve and adapt and like you can like झेलना सिखा देती है, सीखना सिखा देती है all
Exactly.
that.
That's the whole point. इंजीनियरिंग आपको झेलना सिखा देती है.
हम्म,
आप जिंदगी अगर कुछ भी डालेगी ना, आप कर लोगे. फर्क ही नहीं पड़ता.
हाँ वैसा है। हाँ, जैसे आपने पॉडकास्ट चालू कर दिया, आपने कंपनी चालू कर दिया, मैंने कंपनी चालू किया, मेरे पार्टनर ने बिटकॉइन में इन्वेस्टमेंट
हाँ.
किया, लाइक स्टफ लाइक दैट कम्स यार। वो कीड़ा होता है
That's
करने
that's
का।
that's absolutely right, यार.
लाइक इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में आई रिमेम्बर वन ऑफ द लैब्स इन
हाँ.
इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, मेरा एलईडी लाइट जल ही नहीं
अच्छा.
रहा था। तो मैंने क्या किया, एक वायर डाला, ए से बी में डायरेक्टली जला दिया। नाउ यू विल अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई डिड ब्रेड बोर्ड में। टेस्ट चल रहा है, अरे लाइट जलता ही नहीं है यार।
Fuck.
तो उससे सीधा कनेक्ट कर दिया टीचर को।
Oh.
लाइट वो टीचर को भी नहीं मालूम मैंने क्या किया।
Oh shit, man, this was insane. Guys, just to let you know, थोड़ी टेक्निकल और थोड़ी सिंपल भाषा में, जो आजकल आप एलईडीज देखते हो ना, एलईडीज को चलाने के लिए बहुत कम वोल्टेज चाहिए होती है. मिनिमम से मिनिमम 1.5 वोल्ट चाहिए होता है, ठीक है, या 0.9 पे भी चल जाता है. देखिए नहीं क्या किया, एसी डीसी का 250 वोल्ट सीधा घुसा दिया.
अरे जला वो लेकिन।
मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा फुकी क्यों.
हम लोग ने जी बहुत इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स में बहुत कीड़े
Oh
किए हैं यार। ब्रेड बोर्ड पे कितने टाइम पास किए।
my god.
हमको असाइनमेंट करने होते
हाँ.
थे 2 घंटे
हाँ.
के, हमको आधे घंटे में निकलना है। आधे घंटे में कैसे निकले।
My goodness, यार, सही में.
Now you come from an electronics background, so
I,
you'll
I I
understand
can
all this
completely
work.
understand. Although मेरे साथ थोड़ा उल्टा होता था. I was the guy जिसको सब कुछ आता था, इसलिए मेरे को बहुत आसानी समझ में
अच्छा,
आ रहा था और मैं आराम से कर लेता था बिना किसी बसड़ के.
हम में इंटरेस्ट नहीं था इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स
हाँ.
का तब। like those when we started Bling, we started getting into
हाँ. हाँ.
Arduino
हाँ. हाँ.
and a lot of this Arduino
Right.
stuff. Like we basically hacked Alexa,
हाँ.
Echo, open board, and made all that stuff. Like we did like a talking machine and all that
हम्म.
stuff. Like like बहुत किया है after engineering, like Arduino. I think
I
you should
know,
know
I
what
know
an
talking about
Arduino is,
Arduino,
right?
talking Raspberry, all those.
Yeah,
Right.
Raspberry. Like we use Raspberry to create a Alexa clone for an Amazon Echo box, which opens up
Wow.
automatically. So stuff like that we've done. But yeah, like I understand it, but I never understood. Like I like the coding part of
हाँ
it, not the
मेरे
hardware
को
part
उल्टा
of
है आई
it.
लाइक द हार्डवेयर
And
पार्ट ऑफ इट डिजाइनिंग पार्ट ऑफ इट मुझे
yeah,
कोडिंग पसंद नहीं आती मेरे को गुस्सा आता है वहां पे
वो हाँ वो तो वही है. तो जैसे मेरे को कोडिंग अच्छा लगता था, ये वायर इज टू डेडिकेट फॉर मी. लाइक यू नीड टू हैव दैट
हाँ
पेशेंस,
हाँ हाँ
राइट? लाइक एक ए से बी चला गया मतलब
हाँ
क्या. तो फिर वो कभी समझा ही नहीं, मतलब कभी इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं था. लाइक थैंक गॉड आई वाज इन कंप्यूटर साइंस नॉट इन इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स. तो पूरा लाइफ वो ब्रेड बोर्ड में ए और बी ही करता है.
इतना भी नहीं किया बट ठीक है आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड ओह गॉड दिस वाज फन यार दिस वाज जेन्युइनली फन ओके सो रिकी इतना कुछ हो गया सिक्किम बॉम्बे न्यूयॉर्क क्या क्या नहीं घूम लिए राइट सो वेयर आर यू करंटली बेस्ड नाउ सिक्किम बैक और इन बॉम्बे
No, 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 Bombay, Bombay. I'm in Bombay.
यू आर इन
Um,
बॉम्बे
I think yeah, like I moved to Bombay in 2005. I've been here ever
okay
since.
okay that's great so Ricky now things are in a positive direction and with everything going on how has that affected your family and you know what do they say now ki
Yeah, like initially, to look, I come from a rich Marwadi family in
ha
Sikkim. Like first few years was to make sure that they believe that I'm doing something fruitful, making some
ha
money. तो पूरा पहला 3-4 साल तो क्या कर रहा है, कितना कमाया है, आजा वापस, क्या ये हजार हजार.
ha
Like,
ha
and after a few years when they actually saw my balance sheet, they were shocked. अरे वाह, ये तो अच्छा खासा कमा लेता है. So then they shut up that whole conversation of coming back.
ha
That it was never forced. One thing good about my
hmm
parents has been that they've never forced
ha
us to do
hmm
anything. Like होते हैं ना ऐसे पेरेंट्स जो बच्चा is considered as your pet project. जा डॉगी ये कर, जा डॉगी ये कर, मतलब होता है. इंडियन पेरेंट्स आर लाइक दैट ओनली,
होता है
राइट?
हाँ
हाँ,
हाँ
like ये कर वो
hmm
कर, क्यों नहीं कर रहा है, कर रहा है. Like my parents were never like this. They were like very uninvolved in my
हाँ
career. That means the decision to do what I had to do was always with
hmm
me. Uh, Education, marks, they never cared. Well, I won't say they cared, but they always knew that I was decent enough in education. I'll
hmm
surpass. It was never like a body of concern for them. So yeah, like, and then the fact that they gave me a lot of independence, and then slowly, like when we started making money and when we started having good turns, yeah, then everything fell into place. Nobody called me
oh my
back,
God, right.
and yeah, that's good.
Right. Oh my gosh. That's like a very, very fun journey, honestly, guys.
Mm,
So I mean, one thing that I would love to pick up is that a journey has to have some sort of fun. Okay.
mm,
Which definitely Ricky has had, and then be creative enough and have the balls to bring it out to the market, and then the right ways to sell it. So it really comes
mm.
down to the way you sell it, and definitely Ricky has. What should I say? I mean, the right ways to sell it. He knows the ways, so they are able to do it. और प्लस वो इंजीनियर है तो बोलने की जरूरत ही नहीं है हमें झाड़ना बहुत अच्छे से आता है हम पेपर में बकवास लिख के आते हैं तो हम कुछ भी लिख सकते हैं बैठ के ठीक है
We सिखा देते हैं.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So, Ricky, any very inspiring story or any moment in your entrepreneurial journey which has happened with you and which changed you top to bottom?
Yes, I think two things that I've
Hmm.
said. One is that Pranab
Hmm.
Mistri's TED
Hmm.
talk. It's a very old TED
Hmm.
talk. Well, at that point, it was very fresh. That changed us in how we see technology, at least us,
Hmm.
me and
Hmm.
Dooj. Inspired us to do this tech
Right.
solution innovation, which then became like a basic framework of what Blink is
Hmm.
now. Today also we have a dedicated team which just does innovation.
Okay.
Uh, Self-funded. We don't get enough projects, but we always
Okay.
do it. We always have that team. Which then, and the second one was attending webbies where you met who's of the internet.
Hmm.
Got us really charged up to do some great
Right.
work. So yeah, like those two have been like a great turning point of our
Yeah.
career. Not turning point, more like the belief and
Mhm.
all that stuff. Yeah, those are the 2 points.
Okay, okay. So I guess with that, I am towards the end of my questions I can actually think of to ask you, Ricky. And
Mm,
I guess you have already given a lot of insight, and I've honestly learned a lot from you, specifically how to
mm,
amalgamate tech innovation and uh, upcoming trends into marketing and how you can take it forward. I mean, that is where the differentiation is happening and is supposed to happen. And that is what makes Blink Digital honestly stand out from other big agencies out there. And that definitely has played well for Ricky, Dooj, and Blink Digital out there. So, guys, if I
yeah.
have to say one thing which you have to pick up from, Ricky, Dooj, and Blink Digital, that's this, that try and find innovation. The market is going to get saturated for every other thing at some point of time in the life cycle of whatever XYZ service that you wish to provide. But if you keep innovating and then work your way around it, probably that is where you're going to sustain the market for a long, long period of time. So yes, that would be my 2 cents that I would say that I would want you guys to pick up definitely from Ricky. And before we actually end the podcast, Ricky, and move to take in end this thing. Well, if you have to give out a business mantra, what would that be?
I think you should. So the business mantra is very
Hmm.
clear. You have to be nimble, simple, down down
Hmm.
to earth because it changes. The business changes every day. You have to wake up every day feeling challenged and see newer ways to innovate, finding newer things
Hmm.
to do. Never settle, and always looking at newer things to do.
Okay. Okay. So those are the business mantra that comes from Ricky. And with that said, guys, I want to thank you, Ricky, for so much for coming on the show. It has been such a pleasure talking to you, listening to you, and learning about your journey.
Yeah.
I'm sure that listeners are gonna make something out of it, and this is definitely gonna inspire those marketers out there who wish to make their mark in the digital marketing outside. So thank you so much once again. And
Thank you,
whenever I
thank
come to
you.
Bombay, I look forward to meeting you one.
Oh, where are you based
So
out of?
we're based out of Gurgaon.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarthak. It was great talking to you. I think there was like a lot of engineering bond that happened. I think through my podcast, you went through your engineering journey also. यही होता है जब दो इंजीनियर मिलते हैं तब जो दिया और या
शुक्र मनाम दारू नहीं थी.
तो यार तो क्या like
Right, right. Okay, guys, thank you so much.
guys, that doesn't mean that other people can't succeed. They can
Ah,
succeed well and good. I've seen a lot of people who are like guys, do what you feel like. Don't become an engineer. Just I know nobody like. I hope people don't get inspired and say मेरे को engineer बनना है after listening to this podcast, guys. That wasn't the agenda. The fact is, you can be anything. The idea is that go through stress, go through like a lot of hard work doing education that eventually pays off. It can be a graduation course. It can be you in
hmm,
DU. Getting into Delhi University is also
right.
difficult. Getting into any stuff, but just don't think of education as a very plain, straightforward किताब पढ़ना है, कुछ सीखा नहीं है, because that's what the Indian mentality has always been,
Hmm.
right? It teaches you something else, and that you realize after 5 years of your education.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
Absolutely right. I mean, that's a good insight यार. थोड़ा सा something that
Mm,
that is making me also think क्योंकि मैं थोड़ा सा anti रहता हूँ. But हाँ,
mm.
I agree to this because इंजीनियर वाला बात तो समझ में आता है. लॉयर वॉयर का I'm still trying to figure out उनके लिए कैसा होता होगा if because
नहीं उनके लिए भी सेम है वो my sister is a
हाँ,
lawyer, she was a graduate, she passed out from
right,
LSR, then got into
हाँ,
law. Now she's a good lawyer, like a president or a vice president or something in Mahindra's.
oh,
My brother-in-law is a very big
wow,
lawyer. The fact that I think education really
hmm,
helps get like do your education properly, study. Look, if you have great talent on other things, do that also. I'm not saying education is the prime source, but like if you are well if you can go through your education well, it teaches you things that will come come to you which you'll not know
Mhm.
then, and like and it works for your advantage.
That's absolutely true, yeah, because kahin na kahin it plays a
And
role.
that doesn't mean that you don't drop out. If you have a great idea, please drop out. Then you can become the Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg if you can.
राइट। तो देखो क्रक्स सीधी बात ही है, जो पसंद आए वो करो, ठीक है।
जो है पसंद है वही करो,
राइट राइट।
और जो पसंद है उससे पैसा बन रहा है वो भी करो. That's a joke. Yeah.
No, but that's necessary also. Sometimes you have to make money to live. तो कुछ ना कुछ तो करोगे ना
Yeah,
पैसे
yeah,
कमाने
yeah.
के, that's necessary also. But yes, everything's important, guys. So that's a lot of business manta
Hmm.
that has come from Rikki, right? So do follow, do check out Blink Digital, right? हो सकता है अगला KFC का ad, Amazon का ad और OnePlus का ad जो आप देख रहे हो, Blink नहीं बनाया. So you should be really
Hmm.
happy that you got to learn this directly from the Blink. ठीक है? With
Hmm.
that said, I want to thank you once again, Ricky, for coming in. It was a sheer pleasure.
Thank
I
you.
definitely look forward to meeting you soon. Take care. Bye bye.
Thank you.
I hope that you're able to take back something insightful from this podcast and apply it in your life to be a better version of yourself and add to your Dhandho Ni Soch. If you know someone whom you think should feature on my podcast and has a very inspiring entrepreneurial journey, then do drop me a DM on my Instagram, SarthakVarshney. Sarthak Varshney. Yeah, that's me. I'm the founder of SV Clicks, and SV Clicks is the producer of this show. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn as well with the same name. If you're willing to listen to more of such unheard, inspiring stories of the entrepreneurs, then don't forget to follow us by pressing that follow button on your podcast screen. Thank you for being such an amazing audience. Keep learning, keep growing. We'll be back soon. See ya.